Alright, should be good. It's been a bit longer than I had initially planned, but there was no way that I could skip over doing a stream after this chapter. Like, there's a lot of stuff I have up and coming just based off of what we got in this chapter. I am so hyped for just the general information. I wish that we had a simul release for English. Like, I know they're talking about there's like a new thing from Kodansha coming up, but I don't think there's any. I think it's like next month or something. But man, if it was right now, I'd be so happy, just because of the fact that if I had it, I can figure out like what exactly is like the closest translation for some of the bits. Like, it was it's like the fan translation, then we'll get like the fan translation, then we'll get the officials. But the officials, unfortunately, right now only come in the volume release, which is like months and months away. It'll be like a year before we even get to this part in the official release if we don't get like a simul release soon. And I personally don't really know why they wouldn't want to do one. I feel like a simul release is easier because like once you get to like translating the actual volumes, I feel like if you already have the chapters, you can just go look at them and pretty much just put exactly what they have on there, unless there's something that got corrected later on. What's up though, Egan? How are you doing today? How's it going, bud? Reed Mashal, dude. The last shot was pretty wild. I like that sick AoE freaking nuke. I feel like we're going to get one more member for Percival's group. I could see it. What do you think one more person would be? Do they have it? Oh, I was gonna say, do they have a healer? But I guess Percival's a healer. That's one of the things. I'm not the hugest fan of the hero type magic, just because it's so useful that it, like I said, like it just runs into the base problem that I just had of, oh wow, we can get a healer, but it's like, well, they kind of already have one, so what do they really need? I guess because I was gonna say they have like essentially like a status buff guy through Nasians, because he's got like debuffs. I assume that through poisons and medication he could easily do buffs. What's up though, Sin? How are you doing today? How is everything going on with you and your cats? Rex, my Gaja agenda ends. I'm sad. Yeah, don't worry, man. Get on it. Just get on another agenda. That's all you really got to do. Figure out who's the next best person to hype on, and then jump on that. Jump on the Rades hype train, because in reality, Rades is pretty much unkillable, and on top of that, he has unfair broken magic. Like, he had shamed true magic before anybody else, and on top of that, there's like zero chance he's not arcane. That's one of those headcanons that, like, I feel like nobody really is going to debate that, because like there's just zero chance that Rades is an arcane, because his magic, he has the most against the natural laws of nature magic in the whole series. How are things going? Things are going good. Nice comfortable Tuesday. I'm enjoying myself. The temperature, luckily, is pretty regular outside. I don't think that any of the weather in my area is supposed to get crazy for a while, but it's mostly right now just kind of getting comfortable. I wish I got the second fan translation before the stream came out, because I wanted to really look at all that stuff. And obviously, like, fan translation is still fan translation, but I still appreciate what the Weekly Sorcerer Group guys, or Sorcerer Weekly guys, do for like the fandom. I don't really get along with the dude who runs it. The same thing with like I didn't get along with like, the Eden Zero guy, but I appreciate what they do, and I don't want to cause any problems for them, just because like I think that they do better for the large scale of what's going on, especially like with 100 Years Quest, just because we don't have a simul release. Like really with Eden Zero, it's like you get the spoiler stuff, but worst case scenario, it's like you know if the guys that did do the spoiler stuff decided to stop, you just get the chapters like a day later, whereas like Fairy Tail, you're not going to get them until the official release is like months and months later. So it's a big trade-off. So I appreciate the stuff that they do for him. But anyway, let me get back to some more of the comments. Fabian is being a boomer, excluded from the group chat. Yeah, so do you think that they're going to end up pulling in all the retired Oceans after all the current ones lose? What's going on there, Gene? How are you doing? How are things on the Gene day? Nothing sus, I hope. I know you've been up to some good, Gene, but I appreciate your hard work and dedication regardless. We just need to get you off the sussery. Once we get you off the sussery, then we'll have a well-rounded young Gino. I feel like they need a paladin type dude that can take a stupid amount of damage. I mean, yeah, but can't Percival already do that pretty much with magic? That's, like I said, that's something I like the hero type magic is cool, but I feel like it just is too it's too easy. It's kind of like how I felt about full counter. It's just like his power is pretty much just a reflection of other people's powers. It's like one of those ones where if this was on a character, just some random opponent, or on like a different character in the series, it wouldn't bother me as much. I do really wish we got if I got to pick, the thing I would do differently with Percival would essentially just take away the idea of hero type. I would have made it so it's essentially like a shapeless magic, so he can mold it into whatever he wants. And maybe there are ways to upgrade it to get kind of like different effects, but I just didn't like that it's got a ton. It's a main character power, but then like at the end of the day, it's like he runs the possibility of just getting so much based off of like how OP the hero type magic is, that it could screw over everybody else in the main character groups. Like the main cast group's ability to really do anything if Percival can already outdo whatever it is they do. That's at least for me. I don't know. I don't know what Nakaba's plans are. Maybe he's already thought of this. Maybe that's why he's got Nazians doing stuff that is like a very power-specific thing with like his poisons and stuff. Maybe that's his plan, is to surround Percival with people that the hero-type magic can't replicate. Stuff that is completely outside of just base magic. Because, like, Annie's thing is completely set to her. Nazian's thing is set to him. I don't imagine Percival all of a sudden is going to be whipping out poisonous, little chibi Percivals. I would hope not. Maybe a combined attack between the two of them, but I don't know. But Triple, your mic sounds smoother? I don't think so. I think my mic's about the same. I was gonna say, like, I got a new headset, but I was like, well, I don't really know what the headset has to do with anything. And that's that same headset. It's just the other one was old and starting to break down, because I bought that one used anyway. So this one's brand new. I feel like things going up Suzaku or Celine Suzaku have to do with time. What do you mean? Like, what do you like? Time and what? Sinbad, why are you hating on Gray, man? Gray can't lose to Mira Jade. It doesn't make logical sense from the standpoint of both inverse. It doesn't make sense from the standpoint of their powers. It doesn't make standpoint it doesn't make any sense narratively. Because, like, this is the same dude who fought E and D. Like, Mira Jade wouldn't even last even current Mira Jade wouldn't last 2 seconds against that version of E and D. Gray would mop the floor with Mira Jade so fast, it's not even really a fight. Like, he would completely body her. Like, he beats her in everything. He has more range. His magic is more flexible. He's got better feats in general. Devil Slaying counters devils. He's got better hacks. He's got like a way more creative magic, so he's got more feats in utilizing his magic in different ways. Gray beats her at everything. There's literally nothing that Mira Jane has over Gray. Because, like, Mira Jane, for some reason, Mira Jane's one of those ones that's, like, she's right where the areas where you stop getting to, where you start getting really hacks on top of powerful. Like, there are hacks characters before people like Mira Jane, but, like, once you get around that area is when you start to get to people who are busted on top of being powerful. So somewhere like Jura is right there too, because Jura really doesn't have any hacks. It's like rock manipulation, physical strength, and then like fighting skill and experience. That's essentially the same thing with Mira Jane. The only thing outside of that for Mira Jane, it's like macro, and just fundamentally how takeover magic works. If she could take over our opponent, so it's way more situational than that one. Let me scroll up. I was gonna read this Arthur one real quick. Crats are great, sneezes a lot, and the other is sneaky catitude. Perfect. Well, I'm glad they're doing okay. You should get a third cat. Still don't have that mod. Here you go, Jason. I'll give you the mod. I remember... Oh, I gotta do it from the actual one, not Streamlabs. I remember saying you were on the right path for it a while ago, so I meant to give it to you a bit ago. Here you go. Sinbad, though, you were on the verge of losing your mod with your Gray Slander, man. What's up, the JK Network? How are you doing? Could Arthur be evil because back in the day he absorbed Cat Palug and affected him over time? I don't think so. My belief has been that logically, with Chaos Power, your power is literally between light and dark. I don't think that Arthur can be good or evil. I think Arthur essentially has to be his own way. Because in the idea of how it works, I would assume, like, if he got the chaos would balance his brain, I would assume. Like, it would balance everything about him. Like, I don't think he can be too good or too evil. I think he has to be at a standpoint of chaos. It has to be something that is from his perspective good, but bad for everyone else. It's really just a POV thing. Well, from a degree, not the same thing, but kind of like how Zareth was, where Zareth, it really depended on what point of view you were looking at Zareth from. Are you an Alvarez? Because it's pretty much good from that point, depending on if you know his full-scale plan. But then it's full-scale plan with the Neo Eclipse, it's like, well, that kind of helps everybody in a degree, like to a degree. Like it's a weird one the way that Arthur is, and I think it's because of similar to Zareth, his power that forces him to essentially have to act a certain way. If you like Knock Nozzle or Megicula Room towards the end of the chapter, I don't think it'll be them. I think they're gonna have to go towards Morris. Like, I'd actually be really agitated with Noct if he didn't take them to Morris, because you have all these other people that one could show up for the Megicula fight, but two would be better picks. Nozel being the most. Nozel is the biggest person that needs to show up there. And I think Dorothy is a really good person as well. I know a lot of people have been talking about Dorothy's whole, like, wanting to seal a devil thing, and the fact that she had, at least conversationally, a means about Megicula before, like, the arc really started. So she knows about Megicula. I'd assume that she has a way of trying to combat it. Plus, I'd really like to see Glamour World versus Decaying World. Like I don't think Dorothy could get her in there and then steep her in there. Like, I think it would be like, she traps her in there, and then Dorothy uses, like imagine this. Megicula gets sucked into Glamour World, she uses Decaying World. And it would be like, oh, it's taking all of Decaying World to destroy Glamour World, but because of that, it's like everybody else in the area isn't affected by it because it's solely focused on Glamour World, and it would give them an opportunity, like, say only like 5 to 10 seconds to get to Megicula before Decaying World comes back up. Something like that, I could be like, okay, cool, yeah, that'd be really badass, because one, it'd be cool to see those two clash, and obviously seeing Megicula be more powerful than Dorothy, I think that'd be really neat. I think it'd be really cool to see her use it on Glamour World as well, and we see that spell kind of falling apart. I think it'd be badass as well just to have Dorothy show up and really be of use while not taking away the whole spotlight. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with it. Ian returning to the channel. Don't worry. I know you reminded me. I definitely have to get to it. I've been meaning to. The last 2 days I wanted to get... Because I was away until Sunday. But I got back on Sunday and I wanted to jump on more stuff. But I got back and pretty much just kind of did whatever I needed to do. Like getting home after being gone for a few days. And I jumped on the... Like, immediately jumped on, like, the Black Clover chapter, and then, like, those reviews, and then stuff yesterday. So I'm kind of just, like, catching up with myself. I am going to do it, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about it. It's on my list. I'm going to get to that soon. Like, the only reason that I haven't done it is because I just haven't read the chapters. That's essentially it. Once I read the chapters, I'm pretty much going to jump on it. So it might just be this weekend instead. Maybe on Friday. Because I don't have anything planned for this weekend, so I might just do that. Because there's a couple other videos I really want to get done this week. That is one of them. My next The One Archive Magic video, I'm going to talk about White Dragon Slaying Magic. And then I got a character video on Sting I still got to do. I'll do the Hino one definitely before my Sting video. Because that's going to be a longer video. It's going to take more time to do. Whereas like for the Hino ones, I just have to read the chapters I'm behind on. But I'll get to that, man. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten. I've just gotten sidetracked. I don't think Oceans are evil. They're bad people. I don't think they're evil either. It's a perspective thing. It's like looking at people from Alvarez. They weren't really evil. Like, the only... I wouldn't really say any of them were actually evil. Like, even people like Agil, it's just kind of like, he just was very, like, into his job. Because from their standpoint, they were doing stuff good for their empire, whereas, like, obviously everywhere they invaded, wasn't the case. And that's kind of like how it is for the Oceans. Nope, they're going to Morris. Yeah, I would be really agitated with Noct if he decided to go for Megicula over Morris. Because Morris is like, even though Megicula is more powerful and is more of a raw danger threat, Morris is a bigger threat overall because of what he knows, and obviously, like, what he's just been doing in general with, like, messing with the tree and stuff. Like, they have to take care of him. He's too vital. Look at it kind of like in the Grand Magic games, taking out Rufus was, like, one of the first things they needed to do, because Rufus was, like, he wasn't as powerful as, like, Sting, Rogue, Minerva and stuff. He wasn't as, like, raw powerful as Orga. I would rather fight Orga, though, than Rufus. Rufus is too tricky, unless you just could stomp him and stuff, but he just had a magic, and his his magic was too useful, and it just gave too many problems of him being up, so they had to target him first. Morris is a similar way, but obviously he's way more story impacting with like just all the stuff he's got right now at Axis with the gates and whatnot. So I feel like they have to go after him. If Noct goes after Megicula and Vonica over Morris, I'm gonna think he's kind of an idiot. Because I don't know, I was kind of alright with them going up to like the stuff with Dante, because it was like that was their entry back into the castle. Like they were kind of like swooping in there on their way in, but I'm really hoping he's not like, all right, let's go to Vonica. Then after Vonica, it's like, all right, let's go to Xenon. It's like, no, man, let those guys do your things. Because like, it's a little cruel to say, but from the standpoint of the Clover Kingdom, say you're Noct in this whole scenario, and you have, Dante's down. You have the fights going on with Megicula, and you have the fights going on with Xenon. Even if it meant, like, say, just in theory, dying, Noel dying, everybody in those fights losing to their respective opponents, but you take Morris out, it's damaging to, like, the people, obviously, that would be, impacted that from these characters dying, from both, like, the characters around them, the readers and stuff, but from the standpoint of the Clover Kingdom and, like, the other kingdoms as a whole, it would be, like, it's one of those sacrifices that, it's like, shit, what you had to give up in order to achieve the bigger thing. And I don't want Noel, to die, obviously, but it's like, if Noct had that in mind, of like he'd be willing to let them die in exchange for stopping Morris, I wouldn't be mad at him about it, because he's not friends really with them. He doesn't really know Noel. He doesn't really know Yuno. He doesn't know Lolopechka. He's like, I have a job to do. I have a mission I have to jump on, and I do think that he needs to prioritize that over everything else. Again, I don't want anything bad to happen to Noel and and whatnot, but Noct needs to really just be like, aim for what's most important, and what's most important right now it's Noct, Morris. Morris is the biggest person that he has to take out. Because if you take out Morris and then you go after the other people, then at worst you just have Xenon and Megicula. Whereas like say like they do all their thing, they go after Megicula, take down Megicula, but another gate opens where it's like, well, shit. Then we've got who knows what else who knows what happens to the people already out. The devil's already out. Like would Xenon get stronger? Who knows? The devil's already out get stronger. What happens to the ancient demon? Like assuming that Marileona hasn't cooked it, we know how they work. So it's like it's a weird fight for her. Pretty much fighting a guy that's just going to be neutralizing a lot of her magic. It's just pretty much going to come down to what damage she can get past his like natural barrier. But like would they get buffed up just from the gate opening? Another gate opening. But plus if another gate opened, you'd have another supreme level devil come out. Like would you rather have Megicula or Megicula and friend? It's way more of a damaging trade-off to go after anybody else but Morris next. What else? Well, Noct's the most important thing is to stop the Triad. I understand that, but that was before he knew about about Morris. Morris there is the most dangerous problem they have, because Morris has access inside Lolopechka's head to get her her wisdom. Who knows what else he already took out of her, but he's figured out ways to manipulate the ritual outside of what they are thought possible. Like adding another person, adding himself in there to accelerate it. Like what is he gonna do next? Because I think still that there's gonna be a point where they stop for a period of time. Like maybe they stop it after the second or third gate, and they have to regroup and kind of redo things. Like imagine that after the second gate, something happens, they have to stop, and now it's like they can restart it, but they can't do it at the accelerated speed. Or something. I don't know. There's just some extra variable there that kind of changes what where things are, so it's not as dangerous as before, but it's still an amplified state of danger than it was prior. What else is there? Now we see them going to Morris. Yeah, I really do think they need to go to Morris, man. They really do. He's too dangerous. I want Spirit Guardians to be like 8 generals, but Magi, but Gacha, the useful, and SMH. Yeah, pretty much. I don't understand why Tabata did the Spirit Guardians that dirty. I personally would like. You should have just had the Clover Kingdom people fight alongside them. Because one, he made the Dark Disciples too fodder. Like the Dark Disciples, like ultimately ended up just being they're like measuring sticks. They really just existed to show other characters' growth from the time skip. And, you know, that's not a bad thing, but I wish he made them more formidable. So, like, we could have some Dark Disciple fights going on right now between, like, lesser characters. Like, imagine if a Dark Disciple took it took a Spirit Guardian plus, like, someone like Leo or somebody like Luck. And then you could have Rill 1v1 a Dark Disciple, and it'd be like, oh, okay, well, he doesn't have the Hack's power of anti-magic or being beloved by mana or any of the, like, really OP things that would boost his otherwise scenario in this kind of case. But it'd be like, oh, okay, Tricky, like, he's got a good magic, and he's fighting, like, a guy with, like, a tricky devil power on top of what he's already got. Like, Tabata, like, the Dark Disciples remind me a lot of the Spriggan minions. Like, outside of Marin Hollow, they didn't really do a whole lot. Like, outside of Marin Hollow, they just kind of were like, hey, characters. And, you know, it's like the Spriggan 12. They already had a lot of characters to deal with, so it was like, not all of them are going to have an additional 3+ characters to them. I do wish we got more of the Spriggan minion people, Spriggan kind of like lackeys, but it's the same thing with the Dark Disciples, pretty much. Like, I wish we got more of them. But it is what it is. Will we see Ankh-Sram and Fairy Tail? I hope so. I really want to see Ankh-Sram at least once. Like, I really just want to see, like, above all else, I want to see what he looks like. I want to see his design. Do you think it's dumb for Suzaku to try and face off Dragon God alone despite what happened? No. I mean, the problem is, like, he definitely underestimated Selene. I think that's part of the problem for him. I think if he was more aware of what Selene was capable of, then he wouldn't have gone in there 1v1. I think he got really lucky with this last chapter, because I personally think Selene was a little bit shaken. You see, like, the disturbed look on her face when she's talking about Kuranuki. That I think Suzaku got an opening that he wouldn't have gotten against a fully mentally prepared and ready for, like, a bloodbath Selene. I think Selene was just not taking it as seriously as she should have. Kind of like what happened with Dante. But it looks like she's going to get away, and she's still going to be doing stuff in a later day. Also, just because we're about 20-something minutes in, everybody who's already here, we got 31 people. If you could thumbs up the stream, thumbs up the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and if you feel like throwing $1 my way as a donation, they are, after all, donations. They're fully optional. None of them are required, but they are all appreciated. All right, now let's get back to some more of the comments. How evil do you think Drac and Joe compare to other main shonen villains like My Hero? I mean, who does it depend, though? Because that's a lot of characters. You just said, like, other shonen villains. I mean, he's a bad guy. He's not, like... He like, the easiest way I can kind of compare him is kind of like the Overhaul, where he's a scrummy crime boss. He's not, like, pure evil. He's not out here, like, murdering children in scores and raping people, but it's just, like, he's just a bad guy. He is a crime lord. He is a kingpin of crime. Like, he's right dead on the role that like, you would expect him to be as a crime lord, you know? That just makes sense to me. 1 second, I'm just replying to something. Anyway, let me get back to some more of these nice commentos. Actually, I don't know what comments are in Spanish. By the way, Rex100 Quest Chapter 86 on what happened with Selene. I talked about it a little bit. I personally think Selene was just a little bit rattled at what happened when she was talking about Kuranuki, that Suzaku got, like, an opening for her. And it's just because, like, she got hurt. I don't really see this as, like, her end. We're probably going to get some big reveal in the next chapter. My guess is that she had, like, maybe her hot spring is something like, kind of like the Lazarus Pit in DC, where it'll heal her. Like, maybe that's why she's always in those hot springs. That's, like, it's very good and, like, calming to her. Maybe it actually does heal her somewhat. But it's going to be something we got to wait a little bit for. Either way, I really want to see where Mishima takes us next, because Selena's obviously going to be down for a little bit. And because of that, like, the hands should calm. I really want to figure out what's going on with the hands. And, like, what is Wendy figuring out? Like, it's so weird, the whole hands and face connection. Scullion one-shot Gray, but Mira Jane held her own for a while. No. Mira Jane wasn't taken seriously by Scullion. If Scullion fought Mira Jane as seriously as she did Gray, he would have used the name technique. That first kick he lands on her, if he wanted to, he could have instantly just grabbed her, turned her to dust. Turned her into ashes right there. But he didn't because he was messing with her. He was serious with Gray, and I thought like, oh, all in. But he definitely put more work in with Gray. Like, he went through Utter Ash, like, he pulled out one of his, like, we don't know if it's a Dragon Slayer secret art, but he used Black Ash, and that's clearly not just, like, a regular move, whereas with, like, Mira Jane, like, what did he do? He's just using plain old melee attacks. Demaria, the fourth strongest Spriggan? I mean, she's middle Spriggan. I don't see her beating Bloodman. Bloodman logically is more powerful than her, or at least counters her. Like, I would consider Bloodman to be kind of like the upper middle. Like, the obvious. We gotta do. Actually, that could be on a stream at some point. Maybe I'll do like a Spriggan 12 rankings set at some point. Because I feel like those are obvious. Or I guess it'd just be a video of me ranking the 12. Like, I mean, it'd be kind of weird because it's like. The top ones and the bottom ones are obvious. Like, top, you got August, Irene, and Larkin. And the bottom ones, you got people like Jacob. You got Agil, and you got, like, I would say Nineheart, probably. And then, like, the middle people, you got, like, Wall, Brandish, Demaria. Like, much kind of more crazy people. One second. Do you think it was dumb for... Oh, wait, I already saw this one. I already read this. Everyone power up Gray, creating new form. I would like to see a new Gray form. The upgrade we saw was, from at least from what I can tell, the upgrade for Gray's Ice Make, not the upgrade for Gray's Devil Slaying. So that's something we're going to have to wait later for. Let's go number 5. Take that, Gene. Yeah, get him. Oh, you have 5 mods now? Gene better do something this arc besides sit on the ship. Oh, I'm so surprised that it's going to be Shiki versus Callum. I thought it was going to be Jin versus Callum, which makes me wonder who Jin's going to fight. Maybe he'll fight Fabiano or something. Hey, but if Jin steps in for Shiki versus Callum, so she can use it, sure. I hope so. I really would like that. I want to see Callum versus Jin. I think it'll be really cool. Green needs to finally use Ice Shell. No, because then he's dead. Third cat would be way too much. No, you need a third cat. Watch Fuego and Cuck Nozel come in and save Noel and incinerate Megakula. I don't know about that. I don't want that now. I really want Nozel to show up. You gotta keep in mind, Megakula and Vonnegut are the people that led to his mom dying. Like, he's gotta have way more of a stake in this. Person behind you is Master of Dragoners. Yeah, that's Georg Ryzen. Do you think Ziggy rules Ziggy rules do Dark Future or the twist of being someone else? I don't know. Like, I've heard some of those. I kind of want Ziggy to be... I kind of just really like this idea that Ziggy was, like, this machine that, like, just decided to go AWOL at some point. Like, I either want Ziggy to be made to be like that, and that's, like, part of his programming, or Ziggy is some form, of kind of like hey, we're a machine. Like, I really wanted to be kind of like Skynet. Like, I make jokes, but he's essentially like a Skynet. He's like Skynet merged with Darth Vader. Like, I really like this idea that he's just like some machine. Like, he's just this living machine that is like just set for evil. I like the idea that he, at some point he was a person and kind of got his brain in a machine, kind of like Xenolith. But I really want him to stay as like a pure machine, because I feel like if he's made to be a person to be put in the machine, it might rattle a little bit of the themes of obviously like the difference between like humans and machines in this series. I really like where it's at right here. I'm not opposed to it being like he used to be a person that became a machine, and he put his brain in a machine, but I would prefer him to be a pure machine, just like a straight, like a regular robot that kind of just at some point said, "Fuck this, let's go ham." One second. Shockers might get fairy till next generation is when we will see him as final villain. I don't know about that. I would prefer him to be the final villain of this one, because like Natsu has taken up a level of awareness and being upset about like clearly seeing that Zeref's curse was the problem and not Zeref, and I think because of that he'll relay Donks from. Are you late? We're only like a half hour in, man. Since Urza can enchant Natsu and Gray's magic, well, I think Wendy did that. I think Urza just knows how to activate it. It's possible that she can enchant Manmu's, Kiria's, Suzaku's magic into her equipment in the future. Maybe if Urza knows how to enchant stuff into her swords, I'm not opposed to that. I personally think that she just like Wendy did it. Urza just knows how to activate them. Either way, it doesn't really matter too much. I would really like it if Urza had a sword for each member of the guild. Like that's to me like peak Urza magic. Because then she's like essentially she's going to have the guild fighting with her at all points in time. I think that's really cool. What's up, you're right? How's it going, man? Where do you remember Geiko as a villain in Black Clover, based on what she's done? I mean, she's good so far, and for just Black Clover, she's probably one of the upper people right now. Probably like top, I don't know, top 7 or something. Because like she's clearly going to be somebody that Tabata is going to use more than just here. But right now, it's just we don't have a lot from her. I like where she's at. I already like her way more than the twins. Like she's got way more character to her than both of the twins. Maybe she'll surpass Zygarde at some point. We just gotta wait. Tamario is always good. Whoa, good to your heart. I don't know what that other one was. Father over Julius in power? Father who? Like for Full Metal? He's the strongest. Wait, who do you think is the strongest character in Black Clover? I mean, besides the obvious like devil picks, like the 3 underworld devil rulers, like Prime Licht is who I would guess is the strongest. Not talking about like Demon Licht and stuff, because otherwise I'll pick Demon Licht just because like Demon Licht's power was supposed to be more than Lumiere and his Prime can handle, and it was going to wipe out the entire Clover Kingdom, just like off the map. Outside of like Demon Licht and stuff like that, the obvious devil picks, I would go with Prime Licht. He, having his grimoire, all of his swords, fully mentally intact, beloved by Mana. He's in his prime, ready to fight. I would be willing to bet that he could, he'd run the hands on like people like Lilith and Nama. I really would love to see if Tabata could give us like an idea where some of like the bigger humans stand, like humans and elves, like people like Prime Lumiere, Julius Licht, like people like them. I really wish we could get a general idea of like where exactly they stand, and not speculation. I've seen people saying that like Licht and Lumiere are fodder now in the sense of time skip, and it's like you guys don't know what you're talking about. You guys are silly. Who do you think is a strong... Whatever, this one... no worries, take your time. Yeah, don't worry, man. I'm going to get to it. I just get distracted easily. Fairy Runner's Quest about to get hate for this chapter. I don't know why. The people that were getting mad were the people that don't pay any attention. Like, there were some guys talking about, like, oh, all of a sudden, this dragon likes her offspring now. I thought they weren't supposed to. It's like, male dragons. Female dragons stay and raise their young. Like, that's part of it. We already knew that. She's not, like, super mom... But she we know that the female dragons do take up the role of raising their offspring, so it would make sense of why she would have more care of them than the males do. And he's like trying to bring up Igneel, but it's like Igneel is a super rare exception that only after meeting Natsu that he was able to gain the ability to actually care about another person. Like if we were going to get anything about Igneel towards Ignia, like it would be like post caring, he goes back and it's like, I need to find my son, but maybe he thinks he's dead already. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think it'll be one of those things where it's like after learning everything that he did through Natsu, that he would care and he would feel bad about it later on. But it's not something that he cared about really at the time, just based off of how, dragon culture was and stuff. To be honest, most of Black Clover villains aren't that interesting. Oh yeah, Tabata is playing it way more kind of like large scale arc kind of wise, where it's more of like he sets it way more kind of like how Sirius Island was. I've explained that, just the way that like all of the arcs before the Elf arc connected to the Elf arc. Each arc had pieces that eventually went into the Elf arc, and I think that's what Tabata is doing now. The problem is like where the Elf arc, like everything prior to the Elf arc, we had way more villains. And we had them in way more sets. Like, we aren't getting, Xenon is the bad guy at one point, kind of like what we got with Veto, or like with Fauna. We're getting them all at the same time. And I think one of the problems that is just the feeling that fans have when you really even think about it, I think it's a time thing. I think in a couple months, we're going to have a different perspective on that. Because, like, Megikyo already is being a pretty competent villain and is already menacing and very threatening. I think it's kind of like just the general reverse, where it's like we went, like throughout the Elf arc and everything going up the Elf arc, we knew, like we had a set couple of bad guys, besides the Spade Kingdom or the Diamond Kingdom people and stuff. But we were seeing them in chunks. Whereas here, I think it's more of like how the followers of Seraph, like the upper elves within the special elf group that they were trying to do the thing with the Shadow Palace stuff. People like them, it's more like those are the bad guys because we know how like the tree works. But we're getting them in a gauntlet style. Like imagine if we didn't have all this stuff. For the most part, we had chunks of it prior to that point when all that like met that Seraphim elves. But it's like we're getting them one by one. They're showing up just in a completely different manner than what we're used to for Black Clover. So I think it just feels different. I think once we get some more Devils out, we'll have a lot more, like, we'll have a lot better of kind of like a gauge of villains in the series rather than prior. Because, like, Patri was already, like, building up to a really good villain, but the problem is with the elves, like, it turns out that they weren't evil. It was really just down to a perspective thing, and then there were problems in a story full of holes that, needed to get filled up, obviously leading to Zagreed. Zagreed I did like, so Zagreed is pretty sick. Thinks Nasus Ether Gear is OP because unless you know how his powers work, like, why does he control you? Yeah, I would assume that, his whole ability of, like, hypnosis, like, it would probably come down to a power level thing. I would assume that he wouldn't be able to use it on people with, like, way more powerful ether and stuff than him. Or if there's a way to kind of just break out of it, like, maybe Overdrive would automatically be one of those things that would kind of, like, override the control of somebody else's ether gear in your body, someone like Nasus. I don't know, though. It would be really sick. Final season Minerva versus final season Mira Jane. Probably Mira Jane. Like, Minerva didn't get anything really that additional in the last arcs. Like, she hasn't gotten anything really that kind of, like, as a plus for her character in terms of, like, fighting and stuff since really she first started doing stuff. Like, I think the only real improvement that we got after the Grand Magic Games, in terms of, like, her fighting capability, is, like, her level of fast-paced teleportation. Like, there's parts when she's fighting Urza where she's just swapping with her so fast, like, at a moment's notice, and we didn't get nearly as much teleportation set fighting when she was fighting people beforehand. We know she could, but she wasn't using it nearly as much in real time. So I would probably give it to Mira Jane. Mira Jane got more feats. Mira Jane had a better display in the Alvarez arc, obviously. What's up, Guillotine? How are you doing, man? How do you think Suzaku was able to severely injure Selene? I talked about it a little bit. I think it had to do with Selene's mindset. I think Selene was in a really bad mindset when he was able to catch her. Weird Orga was done dirty, but you think went stronger. His one shot by Juro was one of the... Yeah, that's like the thing with Echnologia and Gutsur. It's like, yeah, it sucks when you don't get to see a character do as much as you were hoping for, but if it's because they picked a fight with the person they shouldn't have been picking a fight with, it's just like, well, that's their own fault. Like, what happened to God Serena and, in relation to this, what happened with Orga against Jura? It's like, all they had to do was not fuck with these guys, and they still would have been fine. They would have been doing stuff in the arcs. In better words, Morris is way too much. Yeah, I think Morris as well. Morris as well has a lot of potential for Black Clover as a bad guy. Dante does as well, but it's like, I can't tell if Tabata is going to actually do anything with his potential, or if he's just going to let him keep getting the shit kicked out of him. I can't really tell, man. Gene, I got 5 mod. Take that. He's got 5 mod genes. Do you have 5? I think Gene only has 4. I think Mickey will be the main villain of the arc. I kind of hope so. I like Megikyo so far, but I'm kind of hoping Megikyo leaves and then ends up getting, ends up being like a character for later. Because I do like Megikyo so far. Megikyo is pretty creepy. Morse really needs to be that villain, overarching villain. Yeah, Black Clover needs one. I think Jaguar is going after Nero. I feel like he's doing something crazier. Like, I feel like he's gonna do something that is, like, completely unexpected, but from a standpoint of, like, if you were in war times, it would make sense of why you do it. Like, what if he goes... I guess, actually, yeah, you're probably right. I was gonna say, like, maybe do something like supply routes and stuff, but I feel like that wouldn't really matter unless this is gonna be, like, years of a war or something. Probably going straight to Nero might be the best option. But the problem with that is Nero is a criminal. So, like, I don't really know how well that would work out for him, but maybe it's just like one of those things where it's, hey, we're gonna give an attempt and try and talk to him. Oh. Like, he's got a really weird spot with Jaguar. I can't wait to see Ethergear, though. Maybe that'll be the fight. Maybe we'll see those two fight. That'd be pretty sick. I think that should be really fun, because, like, it'd be really badass to see, because they're not the same thing, but the Interstellar, like, Union, they're similar to the Magic Council in Fairy Tail and just kind of like being this overarching government thing, and they're obviously not even remotely the same thing outside of that. But like we never really got to see one of them really do a whole lot, like in terms of fighting and kind of their capabilities, where it's like it'd be really cool to see Jaguar step up, and then it's like somebody that's not aligned with either the main enemy group or the protagonist group kind of doing their own thing, but at the same time it's kind of like on their side somewhat. Any thoughts on Deku versus Bakugo in Class 1A? I'm really hoping Deku gets his ass kicked, man. It's going to be so sad if he beats them. Not from like, oh man, it's such a depressing scene. It's just going to be like, wow, they got wrecked. I hope so. Well, no, sorry. I hope that they beat Deku. I hope that they don't have a bad time. Yeah, Deku is tired. You're disappointed in Dante? I can understand why some people are disappointed in Dante. I've been looking at Dante more of like what he could be if Tabata plays his cards right and not where Dante's at now, because obviously right now Dante's in a bad spot, but I'm really hoping that Tabata does more with him. Gaja's death to me will be like Rengoku's death. Yeah, pretty much. To be perfectly honest, pretty much. That's one of the things about like death, when it's, you know, like the characters don't have nearly as much tie. It's just like sad, but you know, whatever. Man, Nevs, why is your name Shy Penguin now? I just noticed. Oh, would Noct let Yuno die to save the kingdom? I mean, yeah, I mean it'd be unfortunate, but from Noct's standpoint, I can understand why he would be fine risking any of these guys dying for the sake of the kingdom, because they're magic knights. They're part of the military. At the end of the day, their lives are for their countries and their kingdoms and their people, and this is an event where like they're literally invading another country. They should be full like I don't want there to be casualties, but they should be fully ready for casualties if that came around. It's like the Alvarez arc. You know, we only got a couple deaths, but it's like if there were a ton more deaths, it wouldn't be like, oh man, I can't believe characters dead. It'd be like, well, yeah, they're going to a spot where if there was going to be death and then for things to really kind of like click in that spot, it would make sense. So like if they gotta sacrifice themselves for other characters or vice versa, it would, I think that would meld pretty much exactly what you'd expect for military people in war. Thank you, Kinmano, for the $20 super chat.
Oh shit! You just busted a nut.
Why is it playing 2? I gotta figure that at some point. How am I doing? Haven't really heard from you in a while. Oh, I've been busy. Hope you're at Dokumishi and Jujuka Jiken. Ronkan, also, would you be willing to another tier list like your, I like your list. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna read more. I only read a little bit of them, but I am gonna read more of them soon. Probably, I might read a chapter 2 tonight, to be perfectly honest. But a tier list, yeah, we're talking a little bit. I might do one on. I could do one on just like really quick, not right now, but I'll have to schedule maybe on Saturday. Do one on like rank the Spriggan 12, and then we'll rank Fairy Tail antagonists and kind of like my takes on them. That'd be pretty fun. Rax, pretty interesting chapters where Nansu is heading to the top Black Moon Mountain to fight Selene when her and Suzaku are fighting at the base of it. Nansu's just going places, but the thing is, like, if he's going up there now, he's gonna go to where she's probably fleeing. Maybe we'll get like a Natsu and Selene interaction. Like Lotus would be important in the arc, even if it's for a moment. I would love to have a Lotus moment. It's what rewatching the final season, really Spring Tub, we're not serious about the war, honestly. Well, a lot of them, like, they were pretty comfortable about it. It wasn't like they weren't rolling in like they're not like, oh, we're atoned and honed military. It's like, no, these guys are all up, like doing the thing. Like the weaker people, like the fodder, like they, all these guys in like their military uniforms and armor. Those are the dudes that like were way more set for like the military mindset. Whereas like the Spriggan 12, where they're like super elite, act on their own agents. Tomura Shigaragi's character development is what a game changer in My Hero, and one of the reasons why your society is in shambles right now. Yeah, they're all fucked right now. I'm about to sneeze, I think. Hang on. Wait. You're surprised Selene is a mother? Yeah, that's one of those things, like, I didn't expect it to happen, or at least to be revealed, but it doesn't surprise me that much, because I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, she is a multi-century old dragon. Like, it would make sense of why she would have offspring. It's just one of those things. So it's like, yeah, I can see it. Like, oh, I forgot to tweet out the stream. One second. Let me tweet the stream out really quick. One second, one second. I completely forgot about that. I'll just put it on. I made the tweet beforehand. I just completely forgot to post it. There we go. All right, let me get back to the chat and some of the comments. One second, though. I blow my nose. I've been stuffed up the last like 3 days. Like I don't feel sick. I just got stuffed up sinuses. But I feel like that's just because I was just traveling and doing shit. Yeah, like the stream very much. I would very appreciate if everybody liked the stream. And if you're feeling generous, like Kanmano is, you can throw $1 or $2 my way. Much appreciated. Not desire. They are desired, but they are not required. It's the way that I always try and kind of put it off. Oh, also, just as a double finisher, thank you very much for the $20 super chat there, Kanmano. I will read more of those, and then the tier list, I will probably do it on Saturday. I think maybe Saturday. That should be pretty easy, just doing, like, the Spriggan. We'll do each of the main villain casts. We will put in some of the, we'll put in people like Jalal. We'll put in people like Laxus when Laxus was a villain, but, like, stuff like that. Yeah, we'll work through those. Those will be pretty fun. Draken Joe versus Tamura. I give my money Draken Joe. His power is way more broken. Because really, even if you decayed him, he cuts off his arm and then just kind of alchemies back a new arm. Take some sinus medicine. I'm fine. I'm not, like, miserable. I just got my nose is a little bit plugged up. Who do you think is this? Oh, I already read this one. Like the stream? Yes, very much appreciated. Not even if Selene is underestimated stock, you shouldn't have been hurt like that. Well, no, because if you get caught in something you shouldn't have been caught in, that otherwise would do damage, think of it like, Langris can hurt Yami if he can land a hit, but in reality, he's not going to land a hit. If he gave him the opportunity, he might land the hit. With Selene, I think Selene was partially at fault with just, like, her mindset she was in, and that ended up kind of, like, screwing her over a bit. But we might find out something about Selene that is also one of the bigger hype things, like, about her. Like, maybe Selene isn't as crazy durable as the other dragon gods, but she has a place to heal. Like, imagine it's, like, one of the things about Selene that makes her, powerful. On top of that, it's not just like her raw level of powers and abilities, but it's like she could leave at any point and go heal and come back. Like maybe something like that. Last time on my review, like, what if she's got something kind of like a Lazarus pit, like in Batman, where once she gets into it, it'll pretty much heal all her wounds and get her kind of like back into status. I mean, she might even come out a little bit more powerful. Who knows exactly how it's going to do, but. I wasn't really against it because, one, she's not, like, defeated. She got hurt. Suzaku clearly had to pull everything in left to do it. And I don't think if Selene was really in her full fighting mindset, I don't think she would have got hit by it. Shiggy stomps Draken? I don't think so. Draken Joe just has to touch Shiggy and he's done. Shiggy doesn't have a counter to Draken Joe's abilities, but Draken Joe does a counter to Shiggy's abilities. Like, if he starts to decay Draken Joe just, he just cuts off part of the limb. He freaking grows it back, or he just undoes it with alchemy. You're essentially just you're matching a destruction ability with like a manipulation ability. And on top of that, Shiggy doesn't have anything to deal with, like I said, with Draken Joe. The second Draken Joe gets, because if Draken Joe turns him to stone, what does Shigaraki do? And he's also way more creative with his powers. Like Draken Joe's way smarter of a fighter than Shiggy was. It's probably the only chance of overarching villain. Doesn't escape the underworld. Megicula and Morris are definitely potential overarching villains. Like they got some really hype stuff right now, and just general existence in the series that want them to, that has them with a higher level potential than I think most of the characters right now. The antagonists at least. I want Lara to lose the card game. Oh, she's definitely gonna lose the card game. There's no way that Rebecca's gonna lose. Hey, bud, when both losing clothes. Yeah, but I don't think she's gonna end up like if Lyra loses, I can see Rebecca like preventing her from losing a limb, like trying to help her out. Maybe then they can be friends. Like Raid next devil form, whole black body. I want us to see. No, I don't need the black area to kind of like continue. I want to see like a horn, man. I want to see like a horn or a claw or something that looks like it's evolved, rather than just kind of spreading. No, I read this one. Why did Wendy destroy face but still going to detonate? And the dragons were simply... Wait, what? Why didn't Wendy destroy face but it was simply going to detonate? Well, yeah, but they thought that... Or sorry, when they destroyed it, it was going to go off and they had to activate its self-destruct to destroy it. I'm so confused at this comment, though. But it was still going... Yeah, it was still going to detonate, but when they destroyed it, they didn't know it was still going to detonate. Wendy thought it was going to be done. She was surprised that the timer was still going down when the face structure was demolished. Whereas, when the dragons were new, they were just doing dragon things. The dragons were able to simply destroy them. Yeah, the dragons are more powerful. They're way more powerful. They just ran through it. Or do you mean from the standpoint of them just detonating? The dragons, though, they kind of just ran through it all entirely, and I would imagine it would have something to do with Archive, because the face that Wendy went to was activating on its own, whereas all of the faces that were set up in the 3000 in the Ark were all rooted in they were all rooted in the Super Archive. Whereas these were not set nearly as much by themselves. I'd be willing to guess it was more of a difference of acting on its own versus being controlled in what it does. Why behind you is the Master Dragon Eaters? I thought he had a really cool character information dump this chapter, and I got a video planned I really want to talk about for it, and I'll wait until I get better translations of this chapter before we get to it, because there's a lot of potential big stuff that he might have now, and I'll just talk a little bit of it. As I mentioned in a video, that Suzaku logically should have 2 Dragon Slaying elements, because it's like he got Sword Saint after eating Kuranugi, but it's like but that means that he would have to have Dragon Slaying magic in the first place to kill Kuranugi. So I was like, well, maybe he's got 2 types, and whatever else he has is his original Dragon Slaying type. But it looks like Georg is the one that killed Kuranugi, so Georg was a Dragon Slayer before Suzaku became a Dragon Slayer, which means that Georg, who apparently is the true Dragon Eater, is probably has multiple types. I'd be willing to bet he's eaten some of the meat of all the dragons in the guild, so he'll have all their magic and abilities at the same time. Well, maybe not all their magic, but all the different abilities and stuff from different Dragon Slayer types, or at least ones that he liked. Let me see, where was I at? We're an hour in it? Yeah, we're only 15 minutes in. We're at a good spot. Where was it? I just saw chapter 86 page is really interesting. The face and hands look part of the body. I do not know what Mishima is planning for the connecting point between face and hands, because obviously I get the general wording connection, but we don't know really anything about face and hands other than what they do. We don't know where they come from. We don't know what they really mean. I guess in Elenter we know it's oh well, it means that there's a lot of magic, but really why? Who put that there? Why does it do this? What are you talking about? Father from Mashal? I kept trying to remember what his name was, because I remember Adam, but I kept thinking he was Adam, but I remember Adam was their teacher. Does he just go by Father? Oh, I definitely, I've been thinking of him as Adam this whole time. I think it's just because, I kept associating him, using Adam's magic with actually Adam. I don't agree, Pit Fiend. I'm not really a huge fan of One Piece. I like One Piece, but it's like My Hero for me. I enjoy it, but I never get too hyped about it. And I don't get that hype talking about it. And that's one of the things. I do get hyped talking about Fairy Tail. You have to Black Clover, Chainsaw Man, Eden Zero. Any of the series I get really excited talking about, those are usually my go-tos. Where it's I enjoy One Piece, but I'm not a huge fan of it. What's up, Lionel? Messi? How's it going? Is it Messi or Messai? Messay? I don't really know. Regular Acnology, but Mace Beast to Acnology get held no claps. For what? Wait, Elisarius said 5 Dragon Gods, Revel Acnology in power. What do you think about that? I that. I think regular Acnology, sure. Space Time Acnology, no. But obviously, he would still have a power advantage 1v1, so he would be able to beat them just by, having better abilities. How many health points do you think Nazi's Purgatory Dragonfire was worth? I don't know. Probably, I would guess at least, I don't know, 100,000 or maybe 1,000. I don't know. It was it's really weird to think at, because it's he did that in base form, but it's Demolition Fist in base form. So Dragon Force, just going off of the whole fact that it should be superior to Lost Aspect being at least a couple hundred multiplier. Because I'm not a huge fan of when people do Dragon Ball multipliers. It's every multiplier is also a multiplier on top of that multiplier, and then stack multipliers. No, I like when multipliers are really like kind of like way more simple to understand, where it's like a couple, or it's like, oh, Dragon Force, like Dragon Force isn't a multiplier on top of Fire Dragon King mode. Like if he combine them, it wouldn't surprise me if he's doing both. But I don't know. Maybe it's like like it turns into like a set number instead of like, you know, oh, 50 times and then 300 times. Maybe it's like, oh, now it turns into 1,000 times combined or something like that. You know, kind of like an area. But and either way, Jaguar versus Nero versus Ziggy. We don't know anything about Jaguar and what he can do, and we don't know if Nikki, I almost called him Nikki. If Ziggy can fight the same way as like as he did in his prime, or Nero. Like we don't even know what Nero's fights are like. Aue Empire spaceships look cool. They are pretty cool. I do like them. Some say the old man of the Grimoire Tower's previous source. I think that'd be really sick. That to me, that would make sense. So if you're like a retired Wizard King, what would you want to do? You know, give grimoires to all the young kids. Well, get ready to see whoever is going to eventually be Wizard King one day. What is Pit Fiend talking about? I'm not a huge One Piece guy though. Are you talking about like? I definitely don't agree with it. I very much clearly like Fairy Tail more than One Piece. Would Rathian Saints are still be more like the Wizard Saints? I mean it's not really like, cause they're like the Wizard Saints. The Wizard Saints are their own kind of people. They just hold a title, whereas like the Interstellar are a select group inside of the Interstellar Union. The Wizard Saints are way closer to I guess not really. I was gonna say the Heavenly Knights, but it's like not really. Because like the Wizard Saints, they don't have any obligation to like the Magic Council or anything. They're just a title. When will we see Gildart's in action? I don't know. I would love to see Gildart's. What's my favorite ship? I like a lot of the main cast ones, like Natsu and Lucy, Urza and Jalal, Gray and Juvia, Gagio Levy. If I got to pick one outside of that, I'd probably pick like Mavis and Zeref. I always liked that one. Shade. Wait, what? Why are you arguing Gene? I want to see Elf and actual angels, like devils, like Demon Starters and Fairy Tail. I mean, I would like to. I don't really know if I'm obligated for it. Like if I'm super down for it. I'd be alright with seeing some more races though. But I really would like to get to the ones that we have, that we haven't really touched much on, like the Machias, Kais, whatever called. What Black Clover? What is the black thing in Hunter's Quest chapter? That's on his hands. What do you mean? Like do you mean just like the wrist pieces? Those are just wrist pieces. Roxy's were sure wants to commit bot genocide. Celine wants to destroy Elantir, so it's more evil. I mean, Celine's is more evil because it's like, from Shura's standpoint, he doesn't see the machines as people, and from his standpoint, he's doing what he believes is best for the humans on top of everything else. So it's definitely not in the green, but you can at least understand to a degree of where he's coming from, and how it's, from his standpoint, maybe not good, but not as bad. Whereas like Celine just wants to bring ruin. She just wants to break everything down for fun and enjoy herself. Hers is way more selfish, and hers is way more avoidable. Honestly, can't kill me. Gekila's anti-magic can't negate curses at that level. You think that would apply to her heart, though? I don't know. But like the thing is, like Black Clover curses are still part of magic. They're in the branch. It's just like an off branch of magic, kind of like what Ultimate Magic and True Magic are. Who's the better parent, Silver or wait? Who's the better parent between Silver and Irene? Silver. What do you mean? That's very obvious. Celine will dot Wendy. Nah, I don't know about that. Take Sinus Medicine. No, I don't wanna. Silver, but then again, Irene want. Oh wait, it's part of that question. I already know what to answer that. Mishima said he feared the readers causing a backlash if a lot of important characters died. I don't know about that. Like, it's pretty regular in shonen, like mainstream shonen. Like they don't kill people off that often. Like look at like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and stuff. Like characters can die, but it's not like a character is gonna be dead every few chapters. Like a character death is generally way more of an event in these series rather than something like Jujutsu Kaisen or Chainsaw Man, where just like characters die off. But like obviously the big problem with that is, and you look at Jujutsu Kaisen because that's a really good example of right now. You can kill off characters and it just doesn't really do anything for the readers. Like it wasn't him. The two dudes from like the recent chapters. I don't really want to mention names in case there's some anime release in here, but like I didn't care at all. Like this, like oh cool, you're dead. Like, there's characters from Shibuya. I still don't know if they're alive or not, but it's just like I don't really care. Not from like a standpoint of like oh I hated them, but it's just like I have no emotional attachment to them. So it's like really what's my reasoning for caring that much? You know, it's like a weird thing when you really think about it because at the end of the day, like these are characters in a series, they're not real, but like you have to have reason to get invested in their character to care about them because of the fact they're not real. So all these things kind of coupled together make a lot of sense to why it's going to oh, I completely lost my train of thought. I was looking at something and I completely lost my train of thought. Let me read that comment again. Where was I? Like legit full thought loss. Oh, the deaths and stuff. But it's just like when characters die, if there's no weight, it's just it feels almost like a waste. Not in reality, because it's like characters can die. It's like real life, you know, a character can die without being an event. But I definitely prefer when it's an event. And it does, like a character death is just so much more impacting on everything around it rather than like a character kind of just gets killed off. Because I read these for fantasy. Like these are fantasy. I don't read any real life stuff. It's boring. Where do you read Hunter's Quest? I read it like officials are in Comixology. I read like stuff on Weekly Sorcerer. Right now, I think there's a video out that's just kind of like somebody on their channel that translated it, the chapter. It's like very rough translations, but it's still translations you can use, kind of look through, and even in some of the parts, it's like one of those ones where it's like even if the wording's a little bit weird, you're able to kind of like figure out what exactly they mean. Just kind of like put some pieces together. And like, oh, you know, they meant that in this scenario. It's just because of the wording. It might be like if they were saying something, they're gonna say something about like bowls, but they spelled like balls or friggin' something, or you know, something that's like, oh yeah, I can easily see where the error was in here, you know, just based off of like spelling. Maybe the person that did it isn't, you know, maybe English isn't their first language, but you know what I mean, where it's way less of a deciphering problem of trying to figure out like what exactly did this guy mean by this comment. You're just super confused. Someone used to be on par with their children. I don't think so. Like I said, I think Celine just kind of gave like an opening for that attack because of her being rattled about it. What's up, Tippy? How you doing today, man? I think it'll be like how Jura beat Brain, but Natsu fought Zero. Suzaku might beat Celine, but Team Natsu fight Dragons, form Celine. I think Celine I think she's going to go heal and come back just fine. You care eat dragon, better dragon than Suzaku? No. Absolutely not. Like, she drank a Blade Dragon, he drank a Sword Saint Dragon. Like, clearly just the naming on it and the gaps in power. His is just a more potent one. I would assume that hers just does different things, but outside of that, like, I don't know. I don't really see it being, like, I don't see it being, like, an all-around, like, better at everything. I feel like her magic has to have some things that are good by itself in comparison to what Suzaku can do. Wonder if Hermit still hates humans. No, she's good now. Wendy going Dragon Force first time was great. Yes, it was. Wendy's badass. But if anything got re-traumatized by seeing the Doctor do it again, plus Shura, she can't catch a break. Yeah, we're not a fan of Mueller. There'll always be a terrible human being. Yeah, we don't like Mueller. Nobody likes Mueller in here. Hey Rex, do you think we'll make a Velu change his mind to go to the Grim and joining her guild? I think that Hamlet might have to get wiped out or something, man. Maybe Suzaku's sword is the Dragon Slayer, like Urza's or Georg, gave dragon meat to his crew. I don't know. I would assume his sword is maybe like made out of part of the dragon. Otherwise, if it's like he is like where all the power of the sword is coming from, not just the sword, like the sword's not useful by itself. Like, would it be better if he just abandons the sword then? I would assume that if we ever see like what Kuranuki looked like in his actual self, we'll see a way better idea of how the fight will go. Like, what if instead he like his design? What if he has like a giant dragon sword tail, and like eventually Suzaku has something similar to that? Like, what if Suzaku's real sword isn't like the one that he's holding, and it's more like a sword that he kind of manifests? I don't really know. see. The last panel was Celine looking like she was begging for mercy. She's trying to get out of there. She definitely got caught, and she's trying to get the fuck out of there. I was the only one we've been given since his reveal in the Magnus Lupus arc. I thought they said his name at some point, and for some reason I thought it was Adam. But I know Adam was their mentor. But for some reason I thought that was he was Adam, and their mentor's name was something else. I don't really know. Carlos Urza versus Demon King Piccolo. The thing is, like, Urza's not that strong at that point. She's got some good moves. Like, wasn't Demon King couldn't Demon King Piccolo like wipe out islands at that point? So I think he's slower, but I feel like he's strong enough to beat her. I'll go Urza just based off of the speed gap, and I think Urza should still be relatively fine power wise. Like, I think Tartarus Urza isn't as raw powerful as Demon King Piccolo, at least from what I can remember, but she's definitely way faster. Probably Master isn't referred to as Innocent Zero. That's their group name, isn't it? Or is that his name? I'm pretty sure it's the group name. Do you think it's unfair that Noel's form it lasts as long as Asa's or Noel's? No, she's got the least amount of experience. I personally think that hers is based off of just the fact that she's got so much mana in that form that she probably, like, it's probably way harder to contain. The swords with the Dragon Slayer, like, oh wait, I read this one. Kind of where someone said, Innocence. Okay, that's not me. I thought they were talking about the group, though. It's like he's the leader. If Obanazana could knock Agil down, Mirror dominates. Well, the thing is, like, Agil would have beaten would have beaten Elfman and Lizana one-on-one. But the thing about Lizana and Elfman as a duo is they compensate for the other's primary weakness. Like, I keep saying Mirror Jade. Elfman canonically is slow, whereas Lizana canonically is like, weak against heavy hitters. We saw that from Wall when he made the weakness robots on them. Like, Elfman actually, like, stat-wise is pretty good. Like, he's always had physical strength able to compete with, like, people like Natsu and stuff. But that's it. Like, he doesn't have range. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have the endurance. He's durable. I would definitely say he's not as durable as Natsu, but he has been able to, definitely got some strong physical strength feats. And his Sand Beast was able to counter most of what Agil did anyway. So, theirs was very much a power scenario and kind of like the way that they meshed together. Just general situation. Like, in any of them one-on-one, I think they, Agil would have clapped. But they just are a really good duo and were able to get past Agil's defenses. Because I assume the Sand Beast should be able to, attack Agil just fine. If he's like immune to sand-based powers. But those are still my favorite anime of all time. Yeah, they're pretty good. Favorite Ost attack minus Black Divider. Probably Black Divider for me as well. I really like Black Divider. I think it's pretty sick. I would say I would like to beat Natsu and Lucy. Oh yeah, they're gonna get the others. Give time. Forget Marvel DC. Super mines include them. Iron Man and Batman. Oh, favorites. From Marvel, I'd probably pick someone like Spider-Man. I think everybody likes Spider-Man. But also, let me think of some more people. Just real quick. So I didn't want to go with such a plain. For DC, I'd probably go someone like, Batman Beyond, like the Terry McGinnis Batman. I really like Static. Who else? Static's pretty sick. What did you say? Is it just superheroes? Because just superheroes. Fuck. Does Lobo count? Because I'll pick Lobo. Bleach's last arc had a lot of deaths, actually. It had a good amount of deaths, yeah. But that was end to end. That was like, yeah, I might as well just kill some people. Like, I'm at the very end of the series. Like, the only thing that's beyond that is novels. And like, most of the people that died were people you would expect to die. Other than the vice captain at the very beginning of the arc. Yeah, Kimetsu no Yaiba is a good example too. I don't care about a lot of the characters, so like a lot of the deaths didn't really do anything for me. Ultir was better personality than Jude was to Lizzie. Yeah. Final season, Irene versus Celine. Oh, definitely Celine. Oh, Celine now? Do you mean like Celine tired and beaten up? Ultir's one of the best characters. I agree. By the way, Rex, have you read any of Shaman King? I've read the original Shaman King. I haven't read any of the spin-offs yet. I should, though. Do you think Suzaku's better swordsman than Urza based off skill? I'd be willing to bet, at least as of right now. At his specific sword, I don't think that he's better at Urza in a total aspect, because Urza's like mastered swordsmanship across multiple kinds of swords, whereas at least we know Suzaku is just in that his one sword style and that cool long katana. Well, I don't think it's an Odaichi, but you know, it's a really big katana. You know, week to Hunter x Hunter versus Miram is like town level. Yeah, they're not a powerful verse. I think Ignis was a main villain compared to. Wait, how do you guys think Ignis stands as a main villain compared to? I mean, he hasn't done anything yet. What do you mean? He just hasn't really done much. Taurus Urza is not moon level. Yeah, I didn't say that. Celine versus Master Roshi from Dragon Ball? No. How evil sure compared to major Fairy Tail characters? Depends on which character. Because like a lot of them are vile. Like when Mishima wants to do like a character who's evil, he definitely commits. Like he shows them just being vile people. Who did Deku's fight of Cork would be against? I thought he had them all. Is there still one more? Yeah. Is it like saying all six or is there one more? It says Megikyo, which devil are you curious to see in action? I mean, at that point, like we don't really know because we don't know the names of all the ones coming out. But I would really like to see like a magnetism devil. That'd be sick. 1 second. I'm not looking forward to going back to work soon with all my freaking congestion. Yeah, Lobo is DC. Yeah, I know Lobo. I was just saying, like, could I pick him? Because he's like an anti-hero. How well would end of series Lucia merge with Endless doing Fairytale? I mean, he would do decently well. Like, the thing is, he doesn't have a lot of hacks. He's got some good power. But his best hacks really would be, like, kind of like doing his thing, destroying the timeline. But like, the problem is there's a lot of people that could hack him before he gets to that. I think he'd get pretty far. He'd probably get to, like, Spriggan and, like, high-level people. And the only people he's losing to are the people that could just get their hacks off before him. Before he ends up reaching people like Zeref and, like, Dragon Gods and stuff. Like, he's definitely really powerful. Chapter 85, Celine thought she was going to get bodied. I think Celine is, like, kind of, like, in almost mesmerized by the blade. I don't really know. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if she let herself get cut because she wanted to, like, get cut by her son's sword or something. Believe that Caprico, Lao Yang, Mashle could beat Natsu. Who's Caprico, Lao Yang? Let me see, which guy is that? Trying to see which guy that is. Which dude is that? Is that the healing guy? Dude, Natsu bodies that guy. What do you mean? That guy just, like, doesn't he just, like, heal himself? He's got, like, he just does damage. Like, Natsu's just gonna keep going. He's not gonna care. Natsu bodies that dude. Is Sure more evil than Future Rogue? Yeah, I'd say he's more evil. Because, like, Future Rogue's main plan was mostly, like, it down to, like, world domination. How do you think how long do you think 100 Crest will be? I don't know, 150 plus chapters. Hopefully more. I'd really like to see it go, keep going. Thoughts on the car group from Boruto? I don't really care. How far did Luffy get in Fairy Tail? See, like, the problem with, like, Luffy is Luffy doesn't have really any hacks that's gonna do a whole lot to Fairy Tail people, and he's not the smartest dude, so he's gonna get caught in hacks immediately. Like, he wouldn't surprise me to immediately get caught in Evergreen's Stone Eyes and get turned to stone. And like a fight, I mean, he'll get up to, like, some of the Wizard Saints, but, like, especially when you get to, like, get past people like Jura, he's gonna be running to people that are more hacks than he can possibly deal with. Like, look at somebody like Bloodman and then tell Luffy to go at him. Current Gear 4 might beat Tartaros? No. I mean, he could definitely beat most of Tartaros. He can't beat Marred Gear. And then someone like Silver Kyoka. I think Kyoka, like, Luffy with his observation hockey could potentially counter Kyoka's 5-cent swipe. But I definitely would say, like, Silver is used Rubber versus Ice is, you know, that's a bad matchup for Rubber. And then obviously, like, Marred Gear just completely destroy him. Great Ultra getting up their ass in the final battle. She's lost ages. That was great. Oh, yeah, that was pretty sick. Train us from any anime. Wait, if you could train under anyone from any anime, would you pick? It would depend on if I get powers too. Am I just, like, do martial arts training? Capricorn stacked. His PM is wound transfer. That's not gonna matter. Do you think Natsu's gonna care? Like, Natsu is not going to care. And, like, pain negation, he's just gonna body the dude. He's gonna one-shot him. He's gonna just burn through this dude, burn through his wand, and burn through that goddess. Like, so, like Mash beat him playing tennis. And, like, Mash's character, like, his, like, max speed is, like, faster than sound. And, like, he's not doing anything to Natsu. You gotta get further in there, bud. Self-sacrifice is Deku's greatest weakness. Yeah, I like where Deku's at right now. Have you ever heard of Daemon from Boruto who reflects the damage of the attacker intended to back at him? Like, head falls off when you're trying to come... Yeah, but there's gotta be... Like, he attacks them, right? Or is it like... Like, if I thought about throwing him into space, would I go to space? Or, like, logically, because I can't throw him into space, I can't do it. Whereas, like, if I decide to hit him with a shovel... Would it mean that I instead hit myself with a shovel? It's like, I want to know what the limitations and, like, ways that works. Because what if I said, oh, I'm going to blow up the planet and destroy him? It's like, would the planet just explode and then I die? I feel like it would have to work in, like, a line of, of reality with whatever it is you're using. I'm still at the start of Edelus. Yeah, you're way behind. You're way back, my guy. You got to keep going. Read some more. Honestly, I wouldn't see Celine as a mother figure. She's not like freaking super mom, but I mean, like, I don't think anybody really expects her to have kids. But at the same time, it's like one of those things that, like, yeah, it makes sense. She's a 400+ year old dragon. Other demon slayer mages and hunters. I would love to see another Devil Slayer. Like, my dream situation with that, it'd be like a Strauss sibling spinoff where the main villain is a Devil Slayer and it goes into Devil Slaying lore. That'd be amazing. Have you ever attempt to hit Daemon for the thing to wait? You have to attempt to hit Daemon first the thing to affect you. Okay. So I would assume, like, if you didn't think, would you automatically, like, if you were somebody who just did something without thinking, would it affect? Like if some, like, what happens if a robot did something to him, or somebody that isn't really thinking, they're just programmed to do things? Suzaku versus Ishiki from Boruto. So Suzaku should honestly do pretty fine. He should just clap. You should just kind of carve that through, dude. I don't think he can do it easy, but I mean, like, as Ishiki, that's before he gets in the whole fused Momoshiki state, right? Because I mean, he should just be able to, like, if he really wanted to, drop that black blade and just kind of cut right through him. If Natsu punched a mountain or the ground, how much damage would do? If Natsu punched a mountain or the ground, how much damage would it do? Dude, Natsu's do more damage than mountain. I don't really want to spoil you anything though, man. Natsu will absolutely body, like, anybody in Mashle Natsu would have really no problem with. I'm being dead serious with that. I'm not going. Ishiki's not multi-sun level. I'm not doing any kooky Naruto scaling. It's like talking to Bleach people that think Bleach is like multiversal and shit. No thanks, man. The start of Fairy Tail is a decent amount of non-Zeref demons. Also, the Galuna Island demons are natural demons. They're demons that actually, like, exist naturally in the world. The Aetherius are man-made. That's why they're called the Aetherius. Zeref made them of the ether. And then he did it through living magic, and living magic is taboo. It's something that he wasn't supposed to do. What if Astu became an anti-Devil Slayer? I mean, pretty neat. I don't really know what it would really change for him. Kana without Fairy Glitter versus Evergreen. Kana would still win. Like, Kana was at least somewhat of a threat to people, during the Alderaan arc, and she has Fairy Glitter still. And we already know, even though she doesn't get a lot of screen time, we know that she absolutely has high potential. Because, like, Mavis commented on that herself. Like, and look who her dad is. Natsu's weak. No, he's not. Natsu's fucking definitely not weak, my guy. And we're at, like, hour 20. We're doing pretty good. I'm hoping to go for a 2-hour stream. Just because, like, the last couple I had to cut short. So I definitely wanted to have one run longer. Especially for this week. Because, like, this is a chapter day. So I very much want to see how things go towards that. My chapter review is uploading. It's 2.5 hours. Jeez. it's like a 30-something minute video, so I assume it's going to be a little bit longer. Like, I had a lot to talk about. It's just one of those ones. I had a ton of things I really wanted to say. Mary Jane and Demaria takeovers should be different, right? Because I don't think Demaria could take over a god. Well, it would depend on the level of a god. Like, god levels can vary. I would assume that she would... Because you don't have to defeat something to take it over. We saw that with Elfman when he was fighting... when he was fighting Rusty Rose and he took over his arm. I have always like, gone over, like, absorbing the soul is like an automatic way to do it, whereas like the way that Elfman did it requires way more of a process, and you have to like figure out and understand how things work. At least through contact, like it's just a different kind of like way of steps, but there's still takeover. There's still like a takeover magic. I would assume there's just probably not a lot of gods that'll take over people. It's firmly against Versus Battledome Wiki. Yeah, Versus Battledome Wiki is bad. Versus Battledome Wiki is the it's the Outskirts Battledome Wiki people that didn't get into the Outskirts Battledome, that after the Outskirts Battledome kind of like fell apart, the Outskirts Battledome Wiki kind of showed up. And that's why you get really goofy stats on a lot of characters, because like a lot of people on there don't really understand how a lot of like they don't scale, what at least what I would say is like logically, but I mean I don't really care too much. They can kind of do their own thing. I don't agree with them, but it's like, who cares? Fine, but the Natsu I know would get clapped like clapped by like 3 or 5 people. I mean, yeah, that Natsu you're at, like you're early, you're super early Natsu. That's an Edalus still. I mean, even think of like, you know, like Dragon Force Natsu, like even like the Golden Fire one. He's bopping the friggin' a lot of those dudes. I think Ziggy will go and ask Xiao Mei anything. I kind of don't want that to happen. I feel like Xiao Mei wouldn't like Ziggy. I feel like there's gonna be like she would know stuff about him, and whatever stuff that she knows about him would make her not like him. You know, whatever secrets she holds. The Dragon Ball, Naruto, and Bleach. Who run it? Yeah, like they're silly, man. Wait, I read this one. How would Yuji be able to use Sukuna's powers? Didn't Gojo into that? Isn't he just kind of like gaining some of them? Man, it's weird not having Jutsukaisen a bit. Character with accused personality in Fairy Tail? Probably Mavis. Mavis, Wendy, Levy. I actually really like Urza's. I think Urza's like going like how swift Urza can switch from like stoic, emotionally steeled night woman to flustered schoolgirl when she runs into Jalal. I've always really liked that about her. It's always made her feel very human. I want to see Captain Connor join the Insert crew. He's busy, man. He's got his own crew he's in. I would really love to know how he got like put on group with like the Eden's One and Ziggy and stuff. With Jalal back in Tartarus, solo Tartarus guild excluding Mard Gear. Yeah, Mard, like not Mard. He should be fine. Like really, he should be able just to kind of run through all of them. I don't think at the same time, but like 1v1 for sure. Because there's still some people he would have to watch out for in Tartarus. And like if Keys, like if he was able to figure out like using Simon as a corpse to like mess with Jalal, we already know it works. We saw that with Nineheart. So like it like in the general like large scale fight, Keys would actually be really useful to do that. Irene versus Godsoul Demaria. Oh, definitely Irene. Irene is canonically stronger than him. Dark Urza is best Urza. Yeah, I really like the flustered Urza. She's all messed up emotionally, but in a more fun way. Would you like to see more combo spells in Black Clover? I would really like to see some combo spells. Is Burger King your favorite fast food? No. I had Burger King a bit, but it's not my favorite fast food. My favorite fast food... If I had to pick like I like Taco Bell. Taco Bell is definitely up there for me. Carl's Jr. or like any like good quality burger place. Like Burger King is like right in the middle. Like if I was gonna pick burger fast food place, Burger King would be like, it would be like a solid B, like a B, like to me at least. Like you're usually gonna get a good like a good amount of food of like a fair price for how much you're gonna spend. Whereas like McDonald's, you could easily get garbage for what you spend, or you could get lucky and get fresh fries and be like as happy as can be. But yeah, like Wendy's is pretty good. Yeah, definitely a lot of places like those. I'm a big fan of a lot of the kind of like straightforward kind of fast food places. Taco Bell's definitely kind of like not a ball of wrench in there, but I feel like a lot of people like Taco Bell. Well, no, I mean, a lot of people like Taco Bell is like a favorite more than other burger places. I bet it's like, yeah, obviously people like it. It's a freaking huge fast food chain. Let's see. Where would you think Black Clover movie will take place? I have no idea. It depends entirely if it's canon or not. I'm saying Fairy Tail. I was like with Toriko. I don't want it to end. I'm gonna say. Oh, I mean, Fairy Tail's still going. So many series getting movie announcements since success of Demon Slayer. Yeah, the only one that's doing a movie like how Demon Slayer is doing Jujutsu Kaisen, because the other ones are like standalones, whereas this one is a like this, like the Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer ones are part of the story, just made in movie form. Do I cosplay? I've only cosplayed once. Rex is the goat. I don't know about that, man. I'm an alright guy. Where's Bags so stupid they think Master Roshi's city level when you just see him destroy a moon? Yeah, they're really goofy. I'm not a fan of them at all. I saw they're like listed Scolion as like relativistic, which is like less than light speed, but you see like Grand Magic gives Natsu point blank range, dodge, light speed. You see Gildarts outright blitz it back in Ice Trail. Like we see certain feats like freaking Wall shooting his gun from like 400 kilometers away. The dragons going across all over the entire continent in a couple seconds. And this is a continent that's massive. Keep in mind, Fiore is like the size of Russia. And then you look at that map and see all that distance they had to travel all over the place. Because it wasn't in a straight line. They zigzagged everywhere to take out all those faces. So there's way more distance than just a straight line. Personality-wise, do you like more Noelle, Rebecca, or Nobara? Personality-wise, I'd probably go with Noelle. I really like Noelle's character. I think she's really good. Rebecca, like if you said Lucy instead of Rebecca, I definitely would pick Lucy. But like Rebecca's definitely kind of like she's in a good potential spot. I really want to see her grow and see where she goes. And I don't know, Nobara's cool, but like we don't really get a whole lot of that like interesting of stuff from her after that first kind of like when she gets the Black Flash and stuff. It's really weird. I need to try some Bojangles. I've heard about Bojangles. I might go at some point. What's up? Why do you hate Power so much, man? Power's cool. Zaxby's is my favorite fast food place. I've heard about there as well. KFC burger? Didn't they have a chicken burger? I heard they have a chicken. Popeyes Louisiana is extremely good quality. I actually have a Popeyes near me that's good. So I heard Popeyes is like I've heard some people that Popeyes isn't good, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my Popeyes. Because I've been to ones where it's like a fast food chain that's usually pretty good, but it's like, you know, at one location they're ass or something. But that's just kind of the people that, you know, work there. Maybe they're not as talented. Maybe they're not as hot as working, or they're like just not as good, or maybe they have lesser quality products. Whereas like I've gone to places that, you know, something like that where it's like Popeyes, where I've heard it's not as good, but like every time I've ever gone to Popeyes, like I've had a pretty good time. I'm actually might order some Popeyes now that you talk about it. Oh, Kane's Chicken. I've heard of that as well. Man. Make me hungry, man. I kind of want to order chicken, but I know I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't order any food. Because like, I made a pizza earlier. I still got half a pizza to eat, but I was like, do I want... I don't know. I'm not gonna order any food. I got food. I just gotta figure out what I want. You almost got me, because I was just thinking of chicken, and I was just thinking of getting some freaking mashed potatoes or something. It's like, I gotta resist. Sakamoto's Day John Wick movie coming out. I actually just watched the John Wick movies. It's one of those movie series I put off for so long, and then I watched them over the weekend, and I just watched the third one the other day. It's pretty good. I am definitely gonna watch the first one. Urza versus Levi. Come on, man. Urza, like, she doesn't have to get her swords. Like, give her hands. He's putting Levi in the dirt. Popeyes is good in your area. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like the people that I know that didn't like Popeyes just have bad Popeyes in their areas. No, I'm not gonna order any food. I want to, but I know I shouldn't. And it's expensive. Like, I'm not a huge fan of ordering food unless it's unless they got something going on that's like, oh, free delivery today, because like It's the thing about like when I get delivery, if I spend like say I spend like $11 and it's like, oh, after taxes it's 15, and then tip gets up to like 18 or so, it's like, okay, that's not so bad. But it's like when delivery is like $8 on top of that, so I'm paying for like almost about twice as much as I'm paying like twice as much for all the services and stuff than the actual food. It's just like, I don't want to do that, man. So usually I get, whenever I'm trying to only do like order fast food like once a week, and only if it's got no delivery fee. Like if there's like, oh, a special today or coupon or whatever the fuck. The anime is finished. Oh, the Toriko ever? Wait, do you think Toriko will ever get a finished anime? I mean, I don't think so. Like the anime ends slightly different than the manga. Well, slightly. It gives a really good, pretty chunky, different ending, but I don't think they can continue it. Fairy Tail versus Narutoverse. Fairy Tail has way more hacks, like way more dangerous hacks than Naruto. And if you get verse to verse, like Fairy Tail's better technology too. And on top of like technology, they have more dangerous kind of just like magic tools. There's like a drug. There's two drugs that are in the series that like are really dangerous to exist. Like if you do a full scale burst, there's the Rhodonite one from Gradual Spinoff, which pretty much makes it so you don't feel pain at all, so you can just get up after attacks. And then there's the one from Ice Trail where if you take it, it turns like 1 second you will feel like 30 seconds. So it's essentially a 30 times reaction and movement speed increase. Like your speed across the board has increased 30 times, and you can just give that to anybody. Toriko isn't really talked about anymore. I know, that's because it ended years ago. I really wish Toriko was still going. I love Toriko. Rex, have you read beginning after the end? I have not. Dante versus all the Titans and Cervicorps. Dante solos. He literally just presents the Demon King. They all die. If you're thrown into a battle royal, which Fairy Tail character you choose as a servant and element type would you choose? Can I just choose like fire magic and pick Natsu and just like sit back and throw fire spells at him so he can heal up? Will the Spriggan Tools be classified as lost magic? Oh, definitely. That's actually something that I really wish Mishima mentioned if those guys all had lost magics and stuff. Because I know like we've had like the initial areas some for lost magics, but like we haven't had anybody like determining what's lost magic and not for a long time. I would assume like stuff like God Soul and freaking Age Seal, like those have to be lost magics. I don't know. I feel like they all pretty much are. Like they all have really busted magics that don't seem fair whatsoever in compared to other magics, and that's generally like lost magic is like it's just so busted and so dangerous that it's hard for people to keep around, really. So that's always what I've looked at it kind of like as like a little bit of a determining factor as well. Also, my name is a reference to I buy power. Oh, I thought you said you were hating power. When is something at 100% of Irene's power? I don't think that's gonna happen. I think she's just gonna give her a lot of her information, a lot of her intel. Eventually, Irene's gonna have to leave, so I'm kind of hoping maybe she gives like Wendy some information, like, oh, here's where I hid a book with a bunch of stuff that I wrote down or something. I don't really know. Or could she just like leave certain things in Wendy's head, like enchanting memories into her? I don't know. It's a weird concept, but it's like obviously she's in a weird scenario where it could fit. Nanaji is plain old sand and magic. It's very high level for the most part, but it's like his ability to drain water out of people. It was obviously really good. Like that's the only thing that I would say is like a contender for him for lost magic is like how OP that water like absorption is, like water and ice. Because like lost magic isn't the same as something like arcane. Like arcane is something about their magic that defies like the natural laws of the world in some way or the other. Whereas lost magic, it's magic that was too dangerous for people to have, so they hid it away. Like they wanted it to, again, quote unquote lost in history. Happy versus a truck. Happy Body's a truck. What's your least favorite manga? I don't know. Probably like sport, like a lot of sports series I'm not a huge fan of. Because like I can read some. So there's I gotta save it for like a different stream. One of these days I gotta share this time. I think I might have mentioned, but I accidentally read this weird like it was like an erotic romance drama manga. I mixed the title up with like a series of a similar title, and I ended up being like, well, I guess I'll try it. And then I read it, and I didn't finish it, but it was like one of those ones where it was so soap opera drama-y. Like I was reading it, and then I realized I had been like 5 or 6 chapters. Like, oh shit, I don't know if this is for me, but I was like, Man, it's like stuff going on here is fucking crazy. But that's a story for a different day. Out of like the weekly stuff, well, like what do you mean? I would need a list. Bloodman versus Tempester. Oh, definitely Bloodman. He's way superior. He's factually superior. If I were to fight Godsoul Demaria, she could separate her from her takeover. Yeah, she just separate enchantment. Sorry, no Godsoul for you. Just imagine having Lost and Arcane Magic at the same time. You'd be busted. I would assume that like if someone with Lost Magic went into Black Clover, they'd be Arcane, and if somebody from Black Clover with Arcane Magic came more to Black Clover or came more to Fairy Tail, they'd be considered Lost Magic. That's one of the things like when people say, "Oh, why are you comparing like certain things in Fairy Tail and Black Clover?" I was like, "There's so many similarities. Like, there's a lot of differences between the two series, but like there's so many similarities that I think they just work so well like doing cross versus stuff." Ability to kill people with a touch. No, the guy didn't have any powers. I'll share that story on a different day. Griffith versus Natsu Blitzes. Who do you think is better, Lightning, Flame Dragon Mode, or Dragon Force? Oh, Dragon Force. That's no question. Dragon Force, 100%, man. Dragon Force way cooler. Way cooler. You're turning into a dragon. Like, Lightning Flame Dragon Mode is cool, but it's like... Oh, Dragon Force? No way. What else is there? But for real, Rebecca unconsciously kill Happy. I think Noah said that she was supposed to die, but Cat Leaper and she Cat Leaper and then he died. I thought it was like she Cat Leapered herself from dying, but he was gonna die no matter what. At least I remember. Berserk isn't a high power universe. Like, yeah, the only guys in like Berserk like you can't really do anything with is with the weird god from the Lost chapter, but it's like that's not chapter's not even canon anymore. It's like you can't really do a whole lot. Where else? I accidentally clicked out of my Streamlabs. My cat is like sitting right in front of the screen again, so I can't see what I can. Like, have you read Tomb Raider King? I have not. There's a Tomb Raider manga. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that much, but it's like I never read it, never really heard about it, so it's a decent surprise that at least there's one that exists, especially one that if people have read. Hey, cat, can you please lay down? Hey, Gendor. Oh, Femto? I mean, I don't think nobody really does this well. Like, Berserk doesn't have a lot of crazy speeds and whatnot. Maybe a power from Spriggan 12, what I choose. Oh, from the Spriggan 12? Could I pick... I think walls would be really cool to have. Like, imagine if you could just make robots. Or it's like, you know, if you really want to be technical with it, like his alchemy. Like, you essentially become an alchemist. Or, I think Brandish is really cool. Who would I really want to have? I think someone like Brandish is definitely one of the better picks, but probably, if I had to pick, I think Walls is really the most useful. Like, imagine getting to scan people. You scan them, you figure out information about them, and then you create robots that kind of like exploit their weaknesses. Pleasure magic. I mean, you feel like a creep using that though. Final season Mirror versus Ozma. Mirror should stomp. Mirror should absolutely stomp him. Or the first 100 chapters of Seven Deadly Sins. Surprising Escanor and Demon King doesn't appear until way later. Yeah, that's way later down the line. Final season. Wait, there's one. I've heard a lot about that. That's good. I like solo leveling, but mixed. Wait, it's like solo leveling mixed with Magi. Wait, what are you talking about? Like, I missed what series. Oh, are you talking about? Oh, the Tomb Raider King. Oh, it's not Tomb Raider. It just has the name Tomb Raider in it. No, I haven't read it. I might check it out at some point. Sounds like your cat having fun. She just likes to be in the way of things. She's fine. August? What do you mean August? What about August? August is cool, but it's like, if you took August magic, well, like, what if you were the only person with magic? Because then it's like, you only get to copy magic that isn't there. Let's see if it's winning fight Natsu and Ursa on Earth's Quest. That would have been pretty sick. I was hoping for that a while ago, but I don't know if it's in the cards now. Vito Lorkite had pleasure magic. Yeah, I know. Well, Larcade's thing was like, it was like a type of soul manipulation magic. Because it's like he's messing with your sense of pleasure, and then it's like eventually your soul, you just die. Your soul leaves your body. You spiritually climax and you just die. Fairy Tail Black Clover crossover. I think that'd be pretty sick. Because like I said, like the series would work. They meld well together. They work well in comparing stuff between the two of them. They're not one for one, but it's one of the closer ones you're probably gonna get for like series that aren't actually connected. For like a set of series that aren't actually part of the same universe, they actually work pretty well in trying to work them together. Like, I think that's one of the things that's like, you're never going to be able to escape that unless Black Clover or Fairy Tail is going to go some completely different direction and shifts everything that's already existent, which I don't think it's going to happen. Honestly, I can't see Brandish in a fight. Wait, I can't see Brandish in a fight. How does she fight with that type of magic when it's straightforward? She wins. Well, it would depend. Like, if she can't affect you, like, she would, like, it would probably come down to things like physical strength and, like, how well she uses it. Because one thing Brandish could do that I really wish she would do is she could literally take a handful of rocks, throw them in the air, and then turn all of them into mountains and have mountains just falling. And then on top of these large-scale masses of rock falling, they're going to be picking up speed, and the momentum is going to make their impact stronger. Like, Brandish's magic is actually really dangerous. I would love to see her utilize it more. Problem is, we don't see her utilize it more because she's not, like, she's technically a fighter, but it's like, personality-wise, Brandish is not a fighter. Like, magic and ability-wise, fighter. But she's just too lazy. She's just not for it. Would you do character analysis for characters, not power levels, but actual characters? I've been doing that. What do you mean? I want to hear a giant Fairy Tail Strike tier list with like 12 dudes yelling over each other. Depends on what characters you talk about, because like the ones that go in obvious like top places are obvious. It's like when you get to probably some of like the mid to like high rank people, I feel like a lot of kind of like questions are going to be set. Honestly, Fairy Tail reminds me of Black Clover. Yeah, well, it should be reversed because Fairy Tail came first, but pretty much they're similar. For some reason, I think of Power Rangers and Fairy Tail crossover would be cool. That'd be a really weird crossover. All right, we're at an hour 42, rolling strong. Keep coming, bring the comments. Since I'll do my shill while people ask more comments, do their thing, so I can build up more of like a backlog of stuff to answer. But yeah, other than that, just we'll do a quick shill plug. I'd really appreciate it, everyone. And even if you haven't, you got some still good amount of people here. If they could befriend the like button and the subscribe button, thumbs up the video. Check out the check out any other videos after this one, because I'm gonna my 100 Years Quest chapter review will be up later today. It's gonna be a bit, but it'll still be up. Don't you worry about that. Until then, I'd really appreciate if you thumbs up the stream. If you haven't, friend the like button, subscribe button, and if you feel like throwing $1 my way, I'd appreciate it. But they are only a desired tip. They are not a requirement. Anyway, let me get to the stream chat essentially and see how many comments I get. I wish Brave Master got a FMA Brotherhood treatment. Yeah, it'd be pretty sick. I would love to see Brave Master reanimated. You think Fairy Tail's magic would work on beating Goku if he alone went together in entirety of Fairy Tail verse? He'd get hacked out really quickly. Like, Goku's strong, obviously, but like Goku's not that smart. And Goku's a guy to easily get caught in like some OP ability that is like, it doesn't really matter of how powerful they are. If they get caught, they get caught. Like something like Evergreen Stone Eyes. Can Brandish shrink Acknowledge? No, he wouldn't be affected by it. But plus, Brandish's self-applying ones should scale to like her level. Like, I don't think she could shrink anybody, but I think her level of just like, because we saw with Nineheart, her level of effect on other people should be dependent on her magic. It should be come down to a power level based thing. Because she could shrink Demaria, but she couldn't shrink a buffed Nineheart. So it tells me it's like there's definitely like an area where like Nineheart crossed, so she couldn't do it. Gonna get Yamazura's in the crossover. That'd be pretty cool. It depends. Like, is this crossover matchup logic or is this actual matchup? Because like crossover, you just make them as strong as each other. Who cares about like the actual power levels? Like people are there for the meetings, not there for like fights, not there for like consistent fights. They want to see like no one wanted to watch a crossover with like what was it when you had like Toriko, Dragon Ball, and One Piece. Nobody wanted to sit there and just say like why Dragon Ball and Toriko are so much more powerful than One Piece. But then just like leave those guys to the death. It's like, no one cares about that. We just want to see the crossover, see the characters talk to each other, and see how that all goes down. Do you love the like button, Chan? The like button there, friends. Spriggans can do anything against him, and Feared acting like acting like he already won in one of the timelines. I would argue Hours, the anti-magic loser, would be the weakest person on the list. Why do you dislike Yuka so much? Like, he didn't do anything. Like, he wasn't even like an evil antagonist. He just was like some nerd guy. I don't know. Wait, what is this? Why are you naming colors off, man? What if Brandish could maximize the Ether Nano in the air and use it as a raw magic to hit her opponent or target? She should be able to. She was able to shrink, compress, and then reuse Lucy's magic when they were fighting. Depressing about Mir. Yeah, I was really sad about that. I miss him. I'm gonna be bummed about that forever, because it's gonna be also really sad. It's like, I'm gonna remember about Berserk. I'm gonna remember that Berserk's never going anywhere after this point unless they decide to have like an assistant or someone pick it up. And then I'm gonna remember that Mir died, and then I'm gonna get even sadder. It's a vicious cycle, man. Unfortunately, that's just how things are. I got sad because, like, I didn't know he was unhealthy, or just like wasn't doing too good. I think they said it was like a blood clot or something. But I know that he, I know that he had some writer's block issues. I didn't know anything about him being, like, ill. I didn't know anything about, like, that status and everything that was going on there. It's a shame, though. I'll definitely miss him. Naruto for Fairy Tail verse. Yeah. I mean, the Onotsuki are OP, but like you also have like Dragon Gods and people like Zeref are OP. But like, think about this. Let me ask you this, Guillotine: which series has more unfair broken abilities? Just from like the whole 10,000 dragons. You have 10,000 dragons who all would be, because of energy equalization, pretty much immune to chakra. So like that alone is gonna mull over pretty much like 99% of Naruto. Like Fairy Tail just has way more of its raw firepower, and it has way more dangerous abilities. Like, Naruto just has a couple more big characters. Oh, thank you for the $3 donation. Papa Not Daddy. That's an interesting name. You didn't have anything to say? I usually get super chats. I don't get a lot of, like, Streamlabs donations. Because that's through Streamlabs, right? Much appreciated, man. I think you might be the first that I've seen, at least that I can remember, to a Streamlabs donation. Like, I completely forgot that it was set up like that. Thanks, man. I really, like I said, do appreciate. I completely forgot I had that set up. Just did me a favor. You know what? If anybody else wants to feel like throwing some money my way, every dollar is appreciated. Every dollar is more fresh fries I can get next time I go to McDonald's. Will Ziggy change everything once he shows up? Yes. Wait, I don't see any. What's this guy's name? Papa Not Daddy. I don't see him in the chat, so I don't know if he has a different name in the chat or what. Where is your character analysis? Oh, I have to do a new one. I've done a few. If you just look at character discussion or something on my channel, I just did one recently. I did one on Makarov, Atlas Flame. I did one on Zenkro. I gotta do my one on Sting soon. The problem is, like, I wanted to do it either yesterday or today, and yesterday I was going to read, before I do either of those, I want to reread the Twin Dragons, the Sabretooth spinoff. Like, I plan on looking through that, and then re-going through all of the fights that Sting is in, so I can kind of just get, like, a full better relook at his magic, and then I'll go and look at Sting, more about Sting's character and do a video on that. Like, I think it should be pretty easy. I just got behind schedule. I was way more tired than I thought I was on Sunday, and then yesterday I just was like, after being all tired on Sunday, I kind of just like did what I needed to yesterday and chilled, and then didn't get nearly as much done as I wanted to. I got up early and did a bunch of stuff today because I got up early for the chapter and stuff. But yeah, outside of that, man, it's just kind of like waiting for me to kind of like get my full energy back. So I'm good now. Those other videos, they'll be on their way at some point. Just don't you worry. I gotta do, like, after I gotta upload my new chapter review. I've got a chapter prediction view I gotta do for the next one for after this. And then what's today? Today's Tuesday. So I already did like Shonen Jump is until Sunday. I already did all like Four Nights and Eden Zero and stuff. So I should be able to do a couple more over these next couple days. Because besides Saturday stream, I don't have any other chapters I got to review in a weekly status until Sunday. So I'll be able to get to like the Hinoa stuff. I'll get to a Dragon Slayer video I want to do. I got a Georg video I want to do. I got the new One Archive video I got to do. I've got most of that set up. I just pretty much just got to record it. I'm pretty much for like the Dragon Slayer one. I pretty much just have to reread some of the parts that Sting was fighting in, and then call that pretty much good. Do you think the old Oceans will appear? Yes, I'm actually really hoping they do. I'm hoping they come out of retirement. It's confirmed the manga of FMA is making a new series. I saw that as well. There's things of water, god, demon, slayer magic. I mean, there should... we don't know if there's one existent now, but logically, one could exist. Like, it's not something that is out of the realm of possibilities. Like, we don't have a... I'm trying to think of Dragon Slayer type that, like, we do not have in the series whatsoever. Like, we don't have something like, I don't, an acid dragon slayer or a lava dragon slayer or a, trying to think of another element that's like a really regular one, like a really pretty straightforward element that isn't kind of like, I don't know, you can go to like getting into stuff like clinging and stuff, but like, I was trying to get just like another kind of general plane one, like at least a general plane element. It doesn't have to just be Dragon Slayer, but it's like, you could do the gods too. We could have a metal, like we could have an iron god slayer. It just really just depends on, like, the strongest spell in Fairy Tail? Neo Eclipse. Neo Eclipse, like, the one magic, if you want to count the one magic and stuff like that. I also dropped on the ball 2 things so far. Wait, 2 things Master dropped. The wasted anti-magic on that one guy. Made Loki a spirit. Oh, you talking about Fairy Tail? Oh, no, that guy, like, Wave isn't, like... Listen, man, Wave is not a crazy magic. Like, anti-magic just isn't nearly as much of a thing in Fairy Tail. Like, it exists, there are types of anti-magic, but it's not utilized the same. And I wouldn't even say that's really a miss, because it's like, that guy wasn't even that special. And Loki being a spirit, like, that's fine. Loki's still a character, he's not an object. Like, part of the whole reason that, like, Lucy's stuff with, like, the spirits is they aren't things, they're people. One of the Otosuki has time max. I mean, yeah, but so does people like Zeref and whatnot. Zeref's overpowering that dude time-wise. Like, Zeref's knowledge on time, and like, especially when you get to like Fairy Heart Zeref, and like when you look at like things Zeref can do in reality, like it's full scale, not nerfed. Because like he's self-nerfed because like when he fought Natsu, because like obviously how his curse works, how his mind works, and how he wanted to just to fight Natsu. He didn't want any bullshit. And now Natsu relatively can deal with a lot of his hacks, just like innate and built in. But if Zeref wants to, he can stop time and just touch somebody, take their powers. He pulled Fairy Heart out of Mavis, and it's an energy source that's infinite. So I don't really know what's stopping him from like ripping magic outside of a lot of different characters' bodies, and like, you know, power equal to it. Mira versus Vonica. I was talking about this the other day. I'd probably go Mira Jane. Like, Vonica and Mira Jane both are like pretty fair, like raw power wise. But one thing that Mira Jane definitely has is the raw physical strength buff. Like, she's way physically stronger. Vonica should outlast her, but I think Mira Jane would just beat her down before then. And by the way Vonica is, Vonica's probably not going to dodge too many attacks. And Vonica is a character to play exactly into what would really work on Mira Jane. Like, Vonica is the type of person, like, imagine if Vonica took, like, Lisanna or Elfman hostage. Like, Lisanna, like, Mira Jane would just completely snap. She's not like, oh man, now you've done it. She's just like, all right, now I'm seeing red. I must murder you. Not like murder. It's like, I have to beat you until you are so sorry you'll never even think about doing this again. What's the worst Fairy Tail video? I don't know. Would be Darkness's dreams come true. Oh, you mean the pleasure magic? When I get to Larcade, I'll probably do all Larcade's magic at the same time, because like it'll be like pleasure magic, hunger magic, and sleep magic maybe all at once, or at least like RAP and stuff. Because like his are way more on like oh yeah, each of these does primarily one thing, but I've got multiple of them kind of like working. It's like almost like Ice Make, where it's like Ice Make for the most part is just primarily doing one thing. It's got upgraded stuff like, you know, freezing things that can be frozen, things like fire and whatnot, but for the most part it's like you're just kind of crafting ice into certain shapes. I wish there was a demonic roar in Fairy Tail like Dragonheart. There is. What do you mean? Devil Slayers have their whole bellow, their rage. Like, we saw both Silver and Gray do it. The only difference is it's just worded differently. Like, they're pretty much roars. They're just giant mouth codes of whatever their attribute is. Well, he sure took 100 Years Quest seriously, like he's doing the Inzero. What do you mean? What problem has he had with 100 Years Quest that he isn't taking it seriously? I don't really know what you're talking about. I've been really enjoying 100 Years Quest. I don't know what parts haven't been serious about it. Loki had potential. Loki's fine, though. Well, like, where did you see Loki's character going? Loki's still his own guy, but it's like he is a spirit. The secret episode of BBS? Oh, are you talking about Birth by Sleep? Oh, nice. What if Hero wrote Fairy Tail like he's doing the Inzero? How much would things have been? What do you mean? Like, what's different is what I want to know, Sean. I don't really see what, like, the problem is. What is he really doing that different? Problem with Mira is that her siblings are a weakness. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, you can exploit her using her siblings. Even if she knows that's not actually them, it's just, like, it's so ingrained in her head she doesn't want to do anything about it. Like, even the fake Lizana, she was upset seeing it destroyed. So it's like, yeah, but at that point, that's a specific character. But if you took her hostage, there's a difference between, like, if Mira Jane has to fight one of them, that's her weakness. Like, we saw that against, when Lucy made a Lizana Gemini clone, when Wall made the Elfman robot, she's weak to that. But if you mess with her siblings, like taking them hostage isn't going to be the same thing as, like, her fighting them where she doesn't want to fight back. She, like, if you mess with either Elfman or Lizana, she's just going to, like, start to see red, and she's going to want to beat you into the ground. I read this one. Thoughts on Red Letter Media? I don't really watch anything with Red Letter Media. 100 Years Quest actually good story-wise? Yeah, I've really enjoyed 100 Years Quest. Like, especially, like, the stuff they just did this chapter. Like, even in the parts that are, like, I'm so confused with still, with, like, the face and hand connection, I don't know what's going on there. The stuff with Georg, the hype behind Georg was really cool. I really like that. I like that Selene has kids, apparently, so I'm hoping that we get to actually see them at some point. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this chapter I really liked. I see Ziggy ruling Shiki during the fight, that he's human version of himself. I've seen that. Like, it's an interesting theory. I don't really know how much I actually want that to happen. Have I read the Slime anime or watched it? No, I haven't. I only read and watched, like, the first episode, like the first chapter, and then they get that much further into it. I saw Loki chilling inside the guild throwing hands. I mean, he hangs out in the guild all the time. Loki does his own thing. He's fine. Like, who cares? I wouldn't call that a miss. Like, that's just that's just a character you liked more than I think most people generally did. Like, Loki's cool. He still does his own thing. He's not an object, like I said, man. He's not a creature. He's still a person. I'm still trying to figure out what Sean's problem. Like, what's your deal with 100 Years Quest, man? I don't really know what the problem is. Like, I've really enjoyed 100 Years Quest. I think it's been consistently really good, really fun. I really like what Mishima's done with just kind of, like, expanding on, like, stuff already existed in the world. Like, when we found out about like how male dragons don't raise their young at all. They kind of just leave, like, stuff like that. And when we found out, like, oh, well, this makes sense to this, and this. Oh, this makes sense now more so to, like, when Igneel said that Natsu gave him the power to love another person. Like, oh, well, it's because of his relationship with him that he was to get past that aspect of dragon culture and was able to, like, become more, like, I want to say human considering he's not a dragon, but, like, gain more of a human side. Well, I don't know about Ziggy taking Rebecca's legs. That'd be kind of weird. Like, if Rebecca lost her legs, I feel like it would have to be, like, some form of like, super spaceship crash or some big event. I don't want that to happen, though. I don't want her to really lose her legs. I don't really know. Like, the thing is, like, the difference between Eden Zero, though, and Fairy Tail is, like, Eden Zero is very sci-fi tech-based. So, a character losing a limb, I mean, look at Jin, isn't as serious as, like, a character losing a limb in, like, Fairy Tail or Rave Master. I think if a character lost a limb in Eden Zero, it's more of, like, a pathway to get a better limb, in a way. Because, like, look at Jin. Jin's got rocket-propelled limbs that he can send out and control at will. I don't think a lot of people are nearly volunteering for that. But it's like, if I lost a limb in Fairy Tail, and it'd be like, oh shit. You know, I might not have a limb. I might get like, you know, I could get a really cool arm, kind of like later guild arts, like Alvarez guild arts, or you get one of like first back into the story guild arts, where like his leg is like a stick that's on a boot. Or it's like, yeah, this is not very good, kind of prosthetically, but Eden Zero, on the other hand, like they should, like, I'm surprised they can't just regrow limbs, but like their prosthetic limbs would be so advanced, just looking at like what their technology is like, that you probably wouldn't even really notice. Like even those metallic legs that Rebecca had, they looked extra machiny because of like all the screws and stuff and the coloring, but they didn't, like, functionally, they looked pretty much like legs. They looked pretty regular. It's not like they were clunky and were kind of all strange looking. Like, I know some people have seen, like, the prosthetic legs where it's like a weird kind of, it's almost like it's on a spring. It's got, like, this weird kind of clip that it stands on instead of, like, a foot. If Rebecca had those, I'd be, like, way more of, like, oh, shit. Just because, like, it would probably be way creepier to see rather than, like, for her, at least from what I saw, it's like your legs, but gray. And, like, they got some bolts on them. Obviously, they're not her legs, but I don't think it would be visually as much of a shock. Like, think of it like if you woke up and you don't have limbs versus you woke up, you lost limbs, but you have prosthetic arms. You're going to be way more freaked out just based off of, oh, God, I have 0 limbs whatsoever. I'm pretty much like a chicken nugget. And then, like, oh, man, what happened? I lost all my limbs, but I've got all these robot limbs. So it's just more of like it's way less of like a sudden shock. Your race is similar to the Saiyans. Of whether or not having a strong fighting capabilities, my race focuses on different roles based on people that can't fight. It's way more rounded than from the Saiyans, because like I don't really know. Do the Saiyans do anything if they like weren't fighters? Like, did they have people that were like, "Hey, you're our builder, you're our baker, or whatever"? I don't think so. Did they? Mira versus the Urgency Swords were cool. Yeah, those were pretty cool. Like, she was bodying the fuck out of those two. People waiting on Hero's Quest because of the chapter were never really fans. Like, there are people complaining about things that just don't make sense. Like, when people get mad, it's like, oh, I can't believe Celine's lost, whatever. It's like, oh, it sucks. Like, 1, she's not dead. 2, it's very clear she's going to get away. And 3, she's not defeated. A bad guy losing at some point, like, you know, just losing a bout doesn't make them bad whatsoever. It doesn't lessen them as characters whatsoever. I've never been a fan of that mentality. If it's like, oh, this character lost a fight, now they're no longer, you know, they suck now, or like they're on an L streak. It's like, you know, you can make fun of them a little bit for being down, but it's like, Celine's gonna be fine. And we know Celine, she wasn't even in her dragon form. She wasn't even using any techniques that are really that scary. She was mostly just using plain energy attacks and different techniques that just were offensively overwhelming. She didn't use any hacks or anything that dangerous. I think she's fine. Tachi versus Mystigan illusion fight? Probably Tachi. Tachi should be fine. Like, Mystigan definitely had some good illusions, but he didn't have anything that, like, was as dangerous as Itachi. Like, Mystigan seemed way more like his general moveset worked really well together, but he himself wasn't as insane as, like, the other people in his category. It's like, oh yeah, you know, you have the whole mist movement, sleep magic, reflection magic, all going up into, and like, illusions, all going up into, like, you know, his whole, like, oh, instant sleep. Beat somebody, bam, done. Mystigan doesn't use illusions, he uses sleep. He uses illusions too. He uses it on Laxus. Well, a chance to Megakula cursing Gaja before he dies in order to kill. Dude, could you imagine if, like, right before we think Gaja's about to die, like, if Megakula just says nope, turns. I'm gonna ask Jay that after this. I'm gonna ask Jay that. I'm gonna ask Jay and all those guys. It's like Jay is online, so like I can ask him really quick, but. It's man, I wish it was Thursday. I want to bring that up. It makes me happy though that who said that? I'll give you partial credit just in case, because like I definitely thought a little bit of it, but you were the one that triggered it. So Zigaro, I will give you majority credit because you were the one that triggered me to think about that. Because it's like, what if she instantly like takes him over and like makes him into a devil? Let me ask Jason real quick. Let me see real quick. Let me see. I say something I realized. There's something I realized about Gaja. Gotcha, that we didn't even go over at all during the last stream. That would be pretty hilarious. Though. Could you imagine that, like, it's like Gotcha's dying wish, and then it's like Megicula's like, sorry, bitch, and then just instantly turns into a demon. So it's like, all right, get over here, throw your demon lightning bolts at this guy, get to it. I don't have time for your bullshit. Go, come on. That'd be pretty sick. Igniting Celine's son as a lol. That'd be weird. That'd be so weird. I don't want that. Like, it would be so strange for Celine to be Ignia's mom. Like, it's not like, oh, that ruins whatever. It's like, it would just be really strange. I think Lyra will lose. Yeah, she's got to lose. Didn't he use it against Laxus? Yeah. Like, Mr. Good can use illusions. Do you think Callum is possibly related or in a relationship with Brittany? No, I don't think so. I think that's just, like, part of their powers. Maybe, though. Like, I guess if you want to look at, like, maybe they have, like, a set squad and she just has that power because of him. I still haven't seen what you meant, Sean. What's so different that Mishima's doing with Eden Zero that he's not doing with 100 Years Quest, man? I'm real confused on that one. Which series is more dark, Eden Zero, Fairy Tail? I mean, they're both really dark. It really depends. Like, if you were an anime only, you're not going to see a lot of the darker stuff at being a Fairy Tail. Like, Mishima, like I've always considered Mishima's series, like, he's always had them relatively around each other. Like, he keeps it pretty fun for the most part, and then he'll do, like, some dark, fucked up scenes. Like, he's got it in, like, in Rave Master, one of the ones that I'll always remember is, like, when it's showing Demon Card doing stuff, and you see some, like, random people that they strung up and hung over, like, an archway, and it's like, or, you know, they're on a Achilles through, it's like, wow, that was pretty vicious. And then stuff like Jalal crushing a dude's head under his foot, which was super brutal. Eden Zero, probably, like, shooting Shiki in the face. Actually, what is the most brutal death in Eden? What's the most brutal, probably, moment for Eden Zero? Let me think real quick. Maybe, like, Jin breaking the fake sister's head or something like that. That was pretty vicious, too. Because, like, with Shiki getting shot, that was more of, like, Shiki just getting shot. Like, it wasn't as, like, dark, gruesome. Because, like, we knew that one wasn't going to be permanent. Like, I'm thinking of just, like, a really dark scene. Actually, honestly, I think when Draken Joe first confronted that one, like when we first saw Draken Joe talking to that one guy who owed him money, I think that whole sequence was probably was darker, because just the way that Draken Joe conducted himself was very serious criminal. Like, it wasn't like the scene itself wasn't nearly as dark, but when you're just looking at the way that Draken Joe operates, it was way dark, because that scene seemed really real from a crime lord's perspective, like from the standpoint of, like, dealing with Draken Joe and the difference between him being a villain or being a supervillain or, like, you know, some big antagonist. He's a crime lord above all else, so him having that, you know, crime burning personality that, like, not giving a fuck kind of, like, set makes sense of why he would be like that. But also, I personally think that would be the darkest set for me, and from at least from my opinion, just seeing him operate. Jalal versus Urza, I definitely go Jalal. I think Jalal is stronger. If you are fast enough, can we avoid being caught by a domain expansion? Me? I'd be fine. Igno and Celine did it. It's a possibility. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that, but I don't really know how I would feel about that. I just reread the Aldorn arc, realized that Mira did pretty good against her opponents, and she was hyped. But yeah, people were hyping her up, but I feel like that's just kind of like how Natsu will hype up Urza, but it's like Natsu can obviously beat Urza. Gray can definitely beat Mira Jane. That's not like Gray, but despite like even the boosts he gets, like power countering, feat wise, he just dominates the hell out of her. So you're just sending different planets to rule over original intent with Goku before being changed. Yeah, right? Pretty sure. Or remastering gets an anime. A lot of people are open to that. Honestly, the whole Irene story could have been like Fairy Tail Zero, a whole nother spinoff. I would have loved like a much longer run for it. She could go to the dark side, go down a villain route. I kind of hope, like, the way that I've looked at Shiki, Natsu, and Haru, like I mentioned a couple times, Haru is like a hero here. He's way more of the classic hero of a hero's journey. Natsu is like a soft anti-hero. I've always looked at Natsu as like a softer anti-hero. He does anti-hero things. He's not as brutal about it. Like when you get to, like, you know, anti-heroes that straight murdering everybody in path. Like Natsu's much nicer about it. I've been thinking Shiki is more of like an anti-villain. Like, he'd be like a really nice bad guy. He's like a bad guy that would be polite to you until you piss him off, and then he might go a little bit dark on you. Do I think Asta's half devil? I don't think so. I think Asta's just kind of, he's got Wig cursed at this point. All right, let me get caught up with the chat, and then we will end the stream. Which episode, chapter did Jalal crush a guy's head? That was in the flashback, so that's chapter... Should be like in the 70s, like late 70s. I think chapter 77 or 78. Let me see real quick. I think that's Howling at the Moon, so it might be 79. Let me see. Chapter 78, Heaven Over There. I think it's Heaven Over There. No, I'm off by a good chunk. I might be off by like 2 chapters. Here's chapter 80, Joan d'Arc. Yep, Joan of Arc. Okay, so then there's it's 170 or chapter 81. I knew it was around this general arc because I know it's 79. Let me look at 79 real quick. 79 is where we get some information about Etherion. Yeah, Seagreen's decision. That's where we get that first bits of Etherion information. I've been to that chapter so many times to look for that information, so I know where that is. Yeah, it's when they get back. Chapter 82. Chapter 82 is when we see. Yeah, Howling at the Moon. I had the chapter right, or the chapter title right. I had the chapter number wrong. But we see him crushing some of the slaver dudes' heads. Like the first dude that he ran into, he crushed his head under his foot. Corrupt Sorcerer spinoff? I wish. Man, I wish. That would have been sick. You think Fairy Tail will get an extra another sequel? Mishima said he'd be up for it if the fans wanted it. And I absolutely do want it. As long as he's making quality, like, I want Next Generation to continue the series, but I want it to be good. Like, Boruto just had a rough start. Like, Boruto's fine where it's at now, but it had a really rough start, because I think the anime had too much filler, and because the manga was monthly, it was slow, so, like, those areas where, like, we would have otherwise gotten out of Boruto's, like, snobby millennial area, we would have already gotten past that in most of their series. Dean cards impaling women and children spikes. Yeah, they're going crazy. Well, that's probably the more brutal parts I remember in the anime Fighters Quest they added for Alvarez added in for Agnologia's story. So it's so hyped to see it was so metal is when he split that dragon's head clean in half. Like he split that dude's skull in half. I remember that was so brutal. I was like, I'm surprised they put that on here. Like Mishima goes dark when he wants to be dark, man. Gear 4th may look silly, but it's pretty damn strong. I like Snake Man. I'm not a huge fan of Bound Man. Why aren't Supreme Devils interested in their own Grimoire like Zagreed? I figured right now they're just trying to get out. Like, they're trying to get out more than anything else. I don't think Grey can beat Mary Jane. She was knocked out by Elfman. So, what does Mary Jane do to Grey? Peter, what does Mary Jane do to Grey? Keep in mind, Grey fought with END. And not the full version, but he still fought with that version that bodied God Soul Demaria. What does Mira Jane do to Grey? Mira Jane would even beat Margear. Like, it's not a contest. There's such a gap. Grey beats her. He beats her feat-wise, power-wise, narratively, and it wouldn't make sense if she could beat him. Because the boost that Devil Slayers get, like, of just countering and doing extra damage to Devils, is to an extent where Grey and Talnurse was able to fight Margear, somebody who was way more powerful than him generally, as well as END. It gives them a level of general advantage over them that would be so much over Mira Jane, she can't do anything. Now I think about Fairy Tail actually go to anime because the story wasn't even planned. Wait, what? Because the story... No, Mishima did plan a lot of stuff. There was some stuff that he would let be very fluid because there was obviously like not every single decision that a manga is gonna have in a series is like set in stone from the second they did it. Like they're gonna change stuff as things go on. I was thinking about this the other day. The change that I really wish Mishima didn't have is like if you look at Agil's conception art, like his whole concept art. He had a magic lamp. I wish he had that still, man. I wish he like was a genie or something. There was a time where I thought everybody in the Spring 12 weren't human. And I thought that was going to be really sick. If like Zeref went around and collected the best people from all these different species. That would have been really cool. Mira Jane, Hot Sushuens, that's not how that works. I didn't like Boruto at the start. I didn't hate him, but I definitely found him really annoying. I think Fairy Tail's actually... Yeah, I read this one. Ziki will battle Shiki in his arc. No. We might get a short scuffle, but I don't really see it being a fight. Like, Shiki should be way weaker than Ziggy. But anyway, other than that, though, I'm going to call it good. I'm going to end the stream. We're a little over 2 hours, so I'm happy we were able to stick in for the whole time. I'm going to try and get back to usually around 2 hours streams, unless I got to cut it short for something. But next stream should be Saturday. I'm not... Oh, you talking about me? Or you talking about him? Because like, I don't sleep for Mary Jane. I only sleep for Celine. Other than that, though, thanks everyone for showing up. Appreciate Ken Mono and Papa Not Daddy for the super chats. You guys are much appreciated. Until Saturday, I'll talk to you guys later. Look out for those other videos because some of them I'm really excited actually to talk about. But until then, wait, what is it? Doesn't remember all the Souls stars. She's got a few of them.